Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Let you dig treasure, you dug out the tomb of the emperor. Chapter 21. Looking at the scale-covered pangolin, Lu Yuan seemed to see the shadow of Brother Flathead from its body. Shouldn't this guy drink 2 bottles of drinks? Has the species evolved? Even the courage has become bigger, dare to take the initiative to attack the mountain. Ferocious mess. What did I see? Is Xiao Lu so fierce? How dare you take the initiative to attack the mountain? I would like to make Xiao Lu the strongest. Lu is so terrifying, this battle will definitely be a god. Hold the grass, hold the grass, hold the grass, Xiao Lu will worship me. My Nima, I didn't see it with my own eyes. I don't believe that pangolins can beat them so well. That was to cross the mountain, and it was directly hit and flew. Old Lu, you found a treasure, this guy will protect the master. This is Xiao Lu. This is really Lao Liu. Netizens are crazy. The scene just now was like watching a sci-fi movie. Who would have imagined that the pangolin, which is recognized as a coward and a docile personality, could be so cruel and capable of fighting? After crossing the mountain, it stopped rolling. It was lying on the ground. The eyes of the mung bean were a little dull, as if thinking, who am I, where am I, and what is wrong with me? It climbed up from the ground and looked at the small figure, feeling extremely aggrieved. I traveled from south to west just to find a peaceful place, but this mountain is so big that it seems that there is no place for a snake like me. Even a pangolin dares to bully me. No, I can't even beat a pangolin. It's a shame among snakes. Out. He turned around and ran across the mountain, disappearing into the forest like a gust of wind. Yeah, it's so arrogant. Lu Yuan was speechless. After crossing the mountain, he was beaten away, and he reached a new realm. Fortunately, I didn't meet Fuyong when he was there in the morning, otherwise it would be really dangerous. Go, go. After kicking Xiao Lu's butt, Lu Yuan dragged the tree and continued down the mountain. There was no danger all the way, and when we reached the bottom of the mountain, Lu Yuan put the lightning bolt horizontally on the back seat of the motorcycle and tied it. Then take Xiao Lu home. Lu Yuan rides very slowly, the back seat is too heavy, and it is easy to overturn when riding fast. This motorcycle, which was bought from Lu Yuan Junior High School, was under pressure that it should not have been under. 40 minutes later, Lu Yuan arrived home. Dad was on the phone in the yard and saw Lu Yuan came back with a big log, hung up the phone, ran up and asked, "Why did you bring a log back?" Good things are old and valuable. With a bang, Lu Yuan threw the wood on the ground. He clapped his hands, stepped on the wood and said, "Dad, do you know what this is called?" Dad looked at it seriously for 3 seconds and said, "I know, Jinsi Nanmu." Looking at the evidence in his father's eyes, Lu Yuan twitched the corners of his mouth, and decided not to sell anything, lest the old man be so embarrassed that he would cut himself. Cough, this is lightning strike wood, peach wood. Lightning strikes the wood, not the golden Nanmu. Dad knew that Jinsi Nanmu was valuable. Seeing the appearance of his son, he thought he had guessed correctly. The result is not. Grandparents and mother also came out of the house. Dad stepped on the wood and asked conspicuously, "Do you know what this is?" Grandpa looked at it with his hands behind his back, and said, "Is this lightning hitting the wood?" Good stuff. Did you dig Xiaoyuan? Dad asked a question mark. You even know this. Why don't I be your father? Grandpa walked around the wood twice and said, "In the early years, there was a mountain fire in the mountains, and the fire was extinguished. Some people went to the mountains to get this thing, and it was worth a lot of money." Mountain fire. Why don't I know? You weren't there then. Oh, the old man is really well informed, and he knows Lei Zimu. Did Lu uncle just want to pretend? I didn't pretend to be, and I was killed by the old man with one blow. I am so happy. Grandpa wondered, Xiao Yuan, how did you get it back? I brought it back. Of course, what Lu Yuan said. Dad said, "Is it a few £100? Can you carry it?" Lu Yuan said, "It's okay, it's not particularly heavy. I have 2 arms, or it's my grandson. In the past, he was a good farmer. Girls from 10 miles and 8 villages have to ask their parents to kiss." The grandfather said with a smile, and walked with his hands behind his back. Dad felt a little tasteful in his heart. In this family, he was losing more and more status. It's down. See you tomorrow, everyone. Lu Yuan stopped broadcasting, went to take a shower and changed into a suit. When I came out, I happened to see a middle-aged man of the uncle generation in the same village, carrying 2 old hens and 2 big geese coming over. Uncle Ren, this chicken and goose is here for you. Hey, take it away. Grandpa waved no. I have something to do at home, let's go first. The middle-aged man left the chickens and geese behind. As soon as he left, several villagers came carrying things. Mention either the old hen or the goose, or the duck. Seeing that chickens, ducks and geese kept being kept in the yard, no matter how Grandpa refused, the number of chickens, ducks and geese in the yard was always growing, and Lu Yuan was at a loss. What is this? Did our grandpa save the earth? Grandpa's full name was Lu Jingren. People of that era had basically not bad names. But in the next generation, the name began to become irritable. The founding of the country, the pillars, the victory, the national day. Well, my father's name is Lu Chungkai. It's very characteristic of that era. Lu Yuan walked over, looked at the chickens, ducks and geese in the yard, and asked, Grandpa, have you saved the world? The old man said, I took them to dig ginseng in the mountains yesterday, and I have to thank you. Lu Yuan was stunned, no wonder. Grandpa took them to make money. Lu Yuan snorted and went to the chair to lie down. He has to think about where to dig for treasures later. This mountain can be dug for 3 to 5 days even if it is held to its death. It's gone after digging. He also didn't expect to dig something in the mountains, no accident, that's all. You have to find time to buy a car, you have to buy an off-road vehicle, you can run anywhere, and you have to be able to load. It's a bird of prey. Lu Yuan has decided on a car to buy. Pick up Raptor. He checked the nearby 4S store online and made a direct call. Do you have birds of prey in your store? Yes, just arrived at the store. This kind of car is generally not available in 4S stores, so it is necessary to book in advance, or participate in the auto show to transfer goods in advance. There happened to be an auto show recently, and the shop transferred one, and it was the top one, so Lu Yuan bumped into it. Okay, keep it for me, and I'll go right away. After hanging up the phone, Lu Yuan got on his motorcycle and set off. Online, Lu Yuan is on fire. No, to be precise, it was Xiaolu who was on fire. The video of Xiaolu fighting over the mountain is a mess on Weibo and Douyin. Hashtag the strongest pangolin in the universe hash. Grip the grass, do you call this a pangolin? Is this video real or fake? As we all know, video can't be P, so it's true. Don't play tricks, it's true, this is a video taken from the live broadcast room. This shit broke my perception of pangolins. This is undoubtedly the strongest pangolin in the universe, right? Pangolin. I'm going to hit 10. Isn't riding a horse more burning? Where can I adopt a pangolin like this? Learn about first-class protected animals. Little 6. Every time I win a battle, my hair loses a hair. Now there is no one in the world to fight. Little 6. It's just because of the murderous intention, hiding in the mountains and forests, making a living by drilling holes, hoping to wash away the sins of a lifetime. Quote. Nima is outrageous. Even many zoos are paying attention. They watched the video over and over and thought it was fake at first. I ran to the live broadcast room to watch the replay, but had nothing to say. Not every zoo has pangolins, but although they haven't had much contact with them, they know how timid the pangolin is. The one that Lu Yuan dug up seems to have opened up a strange tendon. Winning the big with the small and the strong with the weak is simply a turnaround against the wind. Lu Yuan drove back at 6:30 in the evening. When the huge raptor stopped at the gate of the yard, many villagers who had eaten and walked around gathered around. Lu Yuan parked the car, got the motorcycle out of the carriage, and pushed it into the yard. Dad ran up and looked at the driveway. Did you buy a car? Well, isn't he handsome? It's so big, so handsome. Dad turned around several times, and the more he looked, the more handsome he became. Lu Yuan said, if you have time, go get a driver's license and buy one for you. I'll be away from home in the future, so it's convenient for you to go anywhere in the city. Get a driver's license. Dad was a little moved. How many men don't like cars? Dad likes it too, and I thought about buying one before, but he is a part-timer, so he doesn't use the car when he buys it, and it's a waste of money. And many more. Dad looked at him and said, "You're not at home. Where are you going?" Lu Yuan took 2 cigarettes from his seat and handed them to him. "I have to go out for a walk in a few days. All the good things in the mountains have been dug up." Dad sighed and said, "I plan to renovate the old house and add some electrical appliances in the past few days." Lu Yuan had no problem. He originally wanted his family to go to the city to buy a house. But after thinking about it, I didn't mention that my grandparents have lived in the village all their lives, and it is impossible to live in the city. Mom and Dad too. The relationship between their relatives and friends is here, and going to the county seat to live in the 3-bedroom, 1-bedroom house is no different from going to jail. Anyway, if you have money, you can decorate the houses in the village better, and living in the city is no worse than living in the city. When my father got his driver's license and bought him a car, it would only take half an hour and 40 minutes to drive to the city for anything. Zhongbei district is closer. It can be reached in a quarter of an hour by car, and there are tertiary hospitals and shopping malls. After washing up, Lu Yuan went back to his room, swiped his phone for a while, and when he saw Xiaoliu's hot search, he couldn't help sighing at the diversity of species. Early the next morning, after breakfast, at 8:30, I received a call from Zhu Gaowei. At 9:20, Zhu Gaowei arrived. "It's lightning strikes the wood." Zhu Gaowei patted the wood and transferred the money with a smile. Before leaving, he said, "Brother Lu, if there is such a thing in the future, call me directly." Watching him leave with the wood, Lu Yuan started the live broadcast, got on the motorcycle, and carried Xiao Lu into the mountain. "Come here, Lao Lu is here riding his beloved little motorcycle." "Where's Xiaoliu? I'm here to see Xiaoliu." "Come admiringly. Come here with admiration." The anchor went to Shanfang. "I want to watch Xiaoliu fight." "I think you want to see the mountain die." Lu Yuan looked down at the data in the live broadcast room. There were more than 3 million in the morning, and the barrage was swiped by Xiaolu. Lu Yuan patted Xiaolu's head. "You are also a person in size now. In the village, motorcycles are still easy to use, and you can go on any bad road. From the south to the west, and then to the north." After half an hour, I got off the car at the place, and the motorcycle stopped casually. "No need to lock, this ghost place is really a ghost to steal a car." As Lu Yuan walked quickly, he counted the number of steps in his heart. After walking for half an hour, it stopped after almost 3 kilometers. Level 3 scan. 2 minutes later, scattered golden lights appeared nearby. Roughly counted, the number is really quite a lot. There can be more than 60 treasure points. When he came to the first treasure spot, he saw a green seedling. Lu Yuan knew that he might have encountered Yaopu Garden again today. Gastrodia. Gastrodia. Potential drink. Gastrodia. He Shou Wu. Potential drink. Lu Yuan saw the herbs pass by directly, and he didn't dig the Polygonum multiflorum with low age. Walking all the way, in less than half an hour, he only dug up 7 bottles of drinks, and 3 Polygonum multiflorum. He didn't even want to dig one of them, so he ordered Xiaoliu to help. Xiaoliu is a must-have, but it is the first time to dig herbs, so it is inevitable to be unfamiliar. But it's harmless, experience is accumulated little by little, practice makes perfect, and it's good to come a few times. He walked towards the last treasure spot, and glanced at the time. Only half an hour had passed. This efficiency is simply, He Shuwu doesn't dig. What do you want to dig, Lao Lu? Is the herbal medicine on the mountain so abundant? It's too much to let Xiao Lu dig for herbs. At the last place, there was no herbal medicine, and Lu Yuan became interested. Lift the pickaxe to dig. Puff puff, clang, a familiar voice sounded, and an ordinary stone came into view, followed by a system prompt. You dug, swimming. As a treasure hunter, how can you not swim? You have mastered all swimming skills. Makes sense. But I am a dredger, why should I be able to swim? It is rare to get skills, and the results are more tasteless than each other. Change places. Lu Yuan did not go down the mountain, but walked towards the mountain. He intends to scan circle after circle down the mountain. 20 minutes later, Lu Yuan stood on the top of the mountain. Level 3 scan. After the scan, when Lu Yuan saw the dense golden light, he thought there was something wrong with his eyes. Looking at it again, it is still dense, and the golden light is at most, almost blinding his eyes. This piece of golden light contains at least 500 or 600 treasure points. There are so many good things on the top of the mountain. It's not scientific. This is the top of the mountain. What good things can there be? The deeper the ground, the more likely the treasure will be buried. The mountain is formed by the movement of the Earth's crust. If there are any treasures in it, except for herbal medicine, there are only minerals. But such a single mountain is basically impossible to have minerals. Knowing this, Lu Yuan wondered where the 500 or 600 golden lights came from. The nearest treasure point is 80 meters away. When he walked over and saw the treasure point, he finally understood why there were so many treasures on the top of the mountain. The so-called baby is not something else, but fungus. Lu Yuan couldn't help laughing bitterly. The hundreds of golden lights were all covered with fungus. Moreover, a treasure point is a piece of fungus, not a single plant, otherwise it is not worthy of the name of a treasure. However, the mushrooms are not cheap. The price of many mushrooms is more expensive than the Polygonum multiflorum. He took the pickaxe instead, and the wooden end pressed against the side of the fungus, and with a light push, the fungus was pulled out by the roots. Lu Yuan grabbed it in his hand and said, "Morels, a good thing, I have a good meal tonight." Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Mushroom. I'll go, instead of digging medicinal materials, I will dig fungus. Morel mushrooms are valuable, but Lao Lu is not short of that money, so let's dig it up and eat it by himself. Just this one is enough, dig more. How can it be so easy to dig? The last time I went home and dug in the morning, I dug a dozen or so. As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Yuan waved it, and it was another morel mushroom. The third, the fourth, the fifth. Everyone saw that Lu Yuan was just like picking up garbage, and there were bacteria wherever he plucked it. Morel mushrooms, Boletus mushrooms, black tiger palm mushrooms. Hundreds of them were dug up in the blink of an eye, and everyone's eyelids jumped. Why do I feel a little wrong, but I can't say what's wrong. How did you do it, Lao Lu? Worry, you are more professional in digging mushrooms than me, a Yunsheng native. If you hadn't dug for fungus often, I really doubt that you buried it yourself. Is it difficult to dig mushrooms? Isn't it enough to have hands? It's not difficult to dig, but finding it is difficult. You can see what Lao Lu has dug. The fungus is either hidden under the leaves or under the soil. You have to find it before you can dig it. Old Lu is a pervert. Once he finds one, he's better than my grandmother at digging fungus. In the blink of an eye, Lu Yuan dug up more than 100 bacteria, blowing up the netizens in Yun province. They had never seen such a fungus digging. You forgot how much Lao Lu knows about plants. A word woke the dreamer. They remembered that when Lu Yuan was digging for herbs, regardless of whether it was Polygonum multiflorum or ginseng, he could say 1, 2 or 3. The year and common name of wild ginseng can be said in great detail. What impressed them most was that Lu Yuan once went up the mountain and pointed at a pile of weeds that were indistinguishable to them, and gave them popular science one by one. What is the scientific name of this weed? What is the scientific name of that weed? They were startled. Those who didn't know thought he was a botanist. When I say that, I understand. Old Lu was definitely a scholar back then. How did a scholar tyrant get reduced to playing in the mud? However, they made half a small goal by playing in the mud. Big brother, just speak, don't worry. After an hour, Lu Yuan shouldered the mesh bag full of bacteria, unscrewed the bottle cap and drank the drink to replenish his energy. It's getting late, let's go down the mountain, see you in the afternoon. 5 days later, 11 o'clock at noon. Standing on the bank of Lingshan Reservoir, Lu Yuan looked at the 1,800-acre reservoir in front of him. In 5 days, Lu Yuan dug the last bit of the mountain. To put it bluntly, he had dug everything that could be dug in the entire mausoleum, and no grass would grow anywhere he passed. It is almost impossible to have any more babies. In fact, he didn't find anything good in the past 5 days. Fungus, herbs, bamboo shoots. Bamboo shoots are so outrageous. In the past few days, he once doubted whether he was here to dig for treasures, or whether he was a mountain village anchor. After the excavation of Lingshan, Lu Yuan originally planned to rest for 2 days and then set off for another place. Suddenly thought of Lingshan Reservoir. He came to scan with the attitude of trying it out. As a result, the scan surprised him. 1,800 acres. If you want a complete scan, you need 12 million reputation points. Even if he did not lack reputation, he was surprised by the size of the reservoir. After the scan, he was even more shocked. At this moment, the huge reservoir in his eyes was full of golden light. What does that mean? It means that there may be huge treasures hidden under the reservoir. But he wasn't so sure. After all, the system has many pitfalls. That scan on the top of the mountain almost didn't make him vomit blood. Hundreds of hidden treasures almost made him think that he was standing on a gold mountain and silver mine, but it turned out to be a special group of bacteria. But the scans were all scanned, and there could never be bacteria under the reservoir. The system has judging standards for babies. The bamboo shoots he dug up were a treasure trove. The fungus is also a piece. Only when the value reaches a certain standard can it be called a treasure. According to Lu Yuan's experience, the system's standard for judging a baby is about 1,000 yuan. Therefore, there is a great possibility that there are treasures of great value hidden under the reservoir. A real treasure. That's it. Lu Yuan made up his mind to give him a vote. There will be no live broadcast in the afternoon. I will play a big game for everyone tomorrow, and wait for my good news. Leaving this sentence behind, Lu Yuan will directly download it. T-slipped Xiao Lu, turned around and stepped on the motorcycle and left. When he broadcasted, netizens couldn't sit still. No live broadcast in the afternoon. What are you doing, Lao Lu? Isn't the point of playing big tomorrow? Old Lu hasn't found anything good for several days. I thought that the lightning strike was excessive, but I didn't expect it to be the last glory. Speaking of which, what did Lao Lu come to the reservoir for when he had nothing to do? Look at the scenery. Every day in the mountains, everything is green. I suspect you said that Lao Lu would be green. I can't see Lao Lu's live broadcast this afternoon, it's uncomfortable. Back home, Lu Yuan found his father. Dad, who contracted the Lingshan Reservoir. The reservoir belongs to our village. What do you mean? Back then, we paid for the flood control of the reservoir, and the ownership belongs to our village. A few years ago, some people wanted to come over to contract it, but some people in the village did not agree, and they couldn't do it. Lu Yuan roughly understood what was going on. The ownership of the reservoir belongs to the entire Yangalan village collective, and if an individual wants to contract it, all the villagers in the village have to sign and agree. Lu Yuan said, I want to contract the reservoir. Forget it, you can't handle this matter, I'll go to Grandpa. Dad, do you despise my dad so much? You want to contract the reservoir. What are you contracting for? Grandpa is a little curious. Isn't grandson a treasure hunter? Why do you suddenly have to contract the reservoir? Lu Yuan smiled and said, I'm going to dig treasures under the reservoir. How to dig the reservoir? The deepest place is more than 20 meters, and it can't be dug. Just drain it. Drain. Grandpa was choked, and he couldn't keep up with his grandson's brain circuits. Then I'll help you ask, but the contract cost a lot of money. Grandpa suddenly stopped talking. He remembered that his grandson was not short of money. How much does it cost to contract a reservoir? It's tens of thousands to die. Does this amount of money count for Lu Yuan? Grandpa didn't talk nonsense, got up and left. I'll go and ask them. There are not many people in the village, and the village is so big. Sometimes people are not at home, it must be in the fields. After a few hours, Grandpa came back. Follow me. Where are you going? Lin Zi's house. Lu Lin, the village chief of Yangalan village. Grandpa said, I have asked the people in the village, no problem, you go and talk to Lin Zi, give him the money, and he will help you with the procedures. Lu Yuan gave a thumbs up. Grandpa is really amazing. Such a difficult thing can be done in the blink of an eye. This flattering grandfather is very useful, and he said modestly, everyone is easy to talk, anyway, the reservoir is idle, if you are willing to pay for the contract, they can get the money at the end of the year. And you donate that piece of land. After them, they are thinking of you in their hearts. Lu Yuan thought for a while, and said, Grandpa, talk to the villagers, I'll pump water and pick up a fish and ask them to come and get the fish. It's a good thing, I'll tell them later. Grandpa said, even though the reservoir is too big and there are a lot of fish, they can't get much. Lu Yuan smiled and said, then I don't care. I'm only responsible for pumping the fish. What to do with the fish is up to you. The grandfather pondered for a few seconds and said, Xiao Yuan, I think otherwise, let's call someone to pull this fish, and the money from the sale will be counted in the village's mutual fund. In the future, which children have no money to go to school or get sick, take it from here, what do you think? He knew that Lu Yuan was not short of money, but if he was not short of money, if a reservoir of this size really wanted to catch fish, it was estimated that it would be able to sell tens of thousands or even more. No matter how the money was disposed of, Lu Yuan had to nod. Okay, just do it. He probably knew what his grandfather thought. The money is paid by oneself, and when the villagers need the money, they will think of their own good. In the future, he will definitely run from all over the world. Even if he settles down, it is estimated that he will be in the city. But grandparents, parents, and mothers still have to live here. No matter how big the village is, there are 30 or 40 households. Seeing that you have made money, there will always be people jealous. Properly release some benefits and deal with the relationship well, most people will turn to you, then you can be like a duck to water in the village. It's human nature. Lu Yuan doesn't understand, Grandpa Men Chinger. At the village chief's house, the contract fee was 150,000 yuan, and Lu Yuan added another 100,000 yuan. Uncle Lin Zi, my dad gave the money, and it's included in the village fund. The other money from selling fish is my grandfather's. He didn't take too much money, and sometimes it's better not to have more money. The price of 100,000 is not much, and it is the most suitable. Lu Lin said with emotion. Xiao Yuan is really promising. The rest is left to Lu Lin. In the evening, while my mother was cooking, Lu Lin walked into the yard with an envelope. Uncle Ren, here are the documents. Lu Lin handed the envelope up. Have you eaten? Left 2 drinks if you didn't. No, my daughter-in-law is ready, I'll go back first. Lu Yuan was on the phone, and when he finished, the old man gave him the envelope. Lu Yuan took it apart and looked at it, and he was sure there was nothing wrong with it. During dinner, my mother asked, Son, do you contract the Lingshan Reservoir? Well, pumping tomorrow. So fast. Not fast, the reservoir is so big, it is estimated that it will take a lot of time. He was in contact with pumping water in the afternoon, and he was almost in touch. On the internet, Lu Yuan has not been on the hot search these days. However, the popularity of the live broadcast room is still the same. Every day it starts broadcasting, it can stabilize 5 million online. This size, a proper big anchor. He left the sentence, play a big game tomorrow, at noon, which made many netizens anxious as if they were scratching their heads. However, Lu Yuan said half a sentence, and he was so anxious. It was hard to get to the next day. At 9 o'clock, Lu Yuan finally started broadcasting. Good morning everyone, don't talk nonsense, just follow me. As always, the opening remarks, Lu Yuan rode away on a motorcycle. The reservoir is not far, and it takes 20 minutes to reach by bike. The car was parked on the side of the road, one person jumped out of the car, the camera turned, and the huge Lingshan reservoir filled the camera. There were a few cars parked on the side of the reservoir. Looking down, there was a water pump at a distance from the shore of the reservoir. The scale of the reservoir is limited, with embankments but no gates, and it cannot reach the scale of the dam mouth. If you really want to build it, you have to spend money. So over the years, the reservoir has not been dry, and no one has fished. Lu Yuan didn't give a shit, raised his finger to the reservoir in front of him, and said, this reservoir is contracted by me. See those pumps? Yes, as you think, I will drain all the water in this reservoir. Then, go down to dig for treasure. The voice fell, and the live broadcast room was quiet for a few seconds. Everyone was shocked by what he said. After a long time, everyone reacted and typed frantically on the keyboard. Hold the grass, hold the grass. Lao Lu, are you crazy? Drain the water from the reservoir. My Nima, what kind of fairy operation are you doing? In order to dig treasure, you pump water. It's really not. Pumping water to dig treasure, you are really irritable. This is really cruel. I have never seen an anchor like you before. Lu Yuan smiled and said, the contracting fee for the reservoir cost me 150,000 yuan. Everyone will wait and see if I can recover the cost of my 150,000 yuan. But I don't think it's a big problem. This reservoir hasn't been drained for decades. The reservoir used to be connected to the river. Some people say that they have seen big fish more than 1 meter long in it, but I don't know if it's true or not. So even if you sell fish, you should not lose money. Of course, nothing is absolute, and no one can say for sure. But digging treasures is the process. Lu Yuan wasn't actually sure how many fish there were, but he didn't come for the fish. I don't care how much it is. What I want is the baby under the reservoir. That dense golden light, if he didn't dig it out, made Lu Yuan feel uncomfortable. 150,000. Just to get a drink, this game is really expensive. 150,000 is expensive, and the cost will definitely not be recovered. Is it possible that Lao Lu didn't want fish, but treasure digging? The premise of digging treasures is to have treasures. According to Lao Lu, this reservoir is at least a few decades, and it is possible for hundreds of years. What can be dug in this place? Hurry up and draw water, don't waste time. At this time, the person who arranged the water pump came over. Mr. Lu, are you pumping now? Well, smoke it, the man shouted down. Pump. After a while, the sound of the rumbling of the water pump was all around. Lu Yuan walked along the shore and said, "Everyone, please wait a few days. It will take at least a week to drain the water." Shit, a week is too long. Let Lao Lu seize the opportunity to rest again. You won't dig treasure this week. After digging, oh, there is nothing. Who knows if you don't dig? Lu Yuan is really big, mainly because no one thought that he would drain the reservoir to dig for treasure. This operation is simply a slap in the face. And this operation of his also rushed to the hot search again. Hashtag Laolu 150,000 contracted reservoir, pumping water to dig treasure hash. Worry, what the hell is this operation? There's nothing normal for this anchor to do. You can do anything to dig treasures. I like this kind of anchor, you can never imagine where he will dig for treasures. Pumping the reservoir. Love. It doesn't matter if you dig treasures or not, I just like to watch pumping. To be honest, I love watching it too. It is said that the reservoir has not been dried for decades, and there must be big fish in it. I wish I could be there in person, or else I'll be the first to jump down and catch a fish. Magic Capital, Tiger Shark Headquarters. Wu Jia came to the office of Chairman Liang Yu. Dong Liang, are you looking for me? Mr. Wu, why hasn't the anchor signed yet? Anchor? Which anchor? Seeing Wu Jia's reaction, Liang Dong sighed, that outdoor anchor who digs treasures. Oh, he's still looking at the contract and didn't reply to me. Still watching. Liang Dongdao. You gave him an S-level contract. Right, he didn't say anything. No, after the contract was sent, he said he would contact me if there was a problem, but he hasn't responded so far. Wu Jia also felt that her work was a little wrong. People do not contact you, you will not contact the family. Realizing this, Wu Jia immediately said, I'll contact him immediately. Liang Dong said, send him a new contract. Wu Jia said, but the S-level contract is already the highest. Custom level. What? Wu Jia opened his mouth. Customized. Customized level means that the annual income is in the millions. Such anchors, even their tiger sharks, can be counted in one hand. Liang Dongdao. His popularity is stable now, and his traffic is huge, and he will be on the hot search from time to time. Now it's not that we choose him, it's the question of whether he chooses us, understand? I see. Well, let's go. This kind of anchor with its own popularity is the most valuable. Liang Dong understands, and so do other platforms. Many platforms reacted with hindsight, seeing that Lu Yuan was on the hot search again, and they started to contact him. Lu Yuan sat in the shade under the tree to enjoy the shade, watched the pump water, and chatted and spanked with netizens. Suddenly someone gave a huge reward in the live broadcast room. Kitty rewarded 10 rockets, and left a message. Laolu read private messages, urgent. Roaring Heavenly Dog rewarded 10 rockets and left a message. Laolu, look at the private message. Seeing these rewards, Lu Yuan opened the private message in the background suspiciously. Little cat Laolu, I am the Cat Live broadcast platform, can I leave a phone call and talk to you about cooperation matters? Backstage private messages exploded, all from major live broadcast platforms. Lu Yuan suddenly remembered that Tiger Shark always seemed to have contacted him before. He was busy digging for treasure during this time, and he forgot all about it. Just as she was about to reply, Wu Jia's phone came. Hello, Mr. Lu, I'm Wu Jia, General Manager of Tiger Shark Marketing Department. I have your phone number. Mr. Lu, the contract I sent you last time. I read the contract and forgot to tell you. It's okay, the contract is void, and we have prepared a new contract for you. It's a customized contract. If you're not busy, I'll talk to you about the content and terms of the contract on the phone. Okay, you say. A custom-level contract sounds very dangling. Wu Jia picked out the key points. The first is the proportion of shares. The S-class is 82 and the custom-made class is 91. The second is the contract endorsement. If the brand is looking for Lu Yuan from Tiger Shark, Lu Yuan needs to share 55 with Tiger Shark. If you find Lu Yuan directly, Tiger Shark does not charge a share. Then there are promotion resources, which are quite rich. Liquidated damages are directly non-existent. Thinking he heard it wrong, Lu Yuan asked again, but he didn't. According to Wu Jia's explanation, the two sides are in a cooperative relationship with mutual benefits, and Tiger Shark will not bind him with liquidated damages. This reflects the great sincerity of Tiger Shark. What else can Lu Yuan say? He has no reason to refuse. You send the contract here, and I'll print it at night. After ending the call, Lu Yuan looked at the background again, and there were dozens more private messages. He replied one by one, refusing. The other party thought he was worried about the liquidated damages, and boasted that he could help him pay the liquidated damages. Lu Yuan wanted to say that they didn't set liquidated damages for me at all, but he didn't say so and directly refused. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the water level of the reservoir shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye. Wow, so many pumps. Grandpa, can I go down and have a look? Grandma, when will the water be drained? I want to go down and catch fish. The children of the village were brought by their grandparents to watch the fun, and they shouted to go down one by one. Lu Yuan patted his butt and stood up, walked over to a few noisy children and said, "There are water monkeys underwater, you will be caught when you go down, aren't you afraid?" "Uncle, you lie, the water monkey is fake." Saying so, there was a hint of fear in his eyes. Which child in the countryside has not heard the legend of the water monkey? Lu Yuan went up to give him a forehead. "I said I have it, just take a look, and when the water is drained, there will be time for you to catch fish." "Uncle, when will the water be drained? I want to catch the eel. I want to touch the old turtle. Let's do it for a week, catch whatever you want." Lu Yuan greeted a few old people and got on the motorcycle and went back to the village. He went to Zhongbei district, printed out the contract, and sent it out after signing it. On the way back, he stared at the shopping malls, office buildings and residential buildings in the city, and a bold idea came to him. There must be a lot of babies under here, right? If you can dig it, it must be very enjoyable. He just thought, if he really does this, he has to go straight into the game. It doesn't seem to be scary to get into the game. I have a pickaxe, and it's not easy to dig through the game. He suddenly felt that he was a little dangling. The world was so big that no one could trap him. Time flies, 5 days have passed. In the past 5 days, Lu Yuan has never been on the hot search. The original popularity was high, and with the help of Tiger Shark, the popularity was even higher. Tens of millions of netizens are waiting for Lu Yuan to drain the reservoir. Some netizens want to see how many fish are in the drained reservoir. Another part of the netizens wanted to see what treasures Lu Yuan could dig under the reservoir. This afternoon, Lu Yuan came to the reservoir after eating. He threw the drone here for live broadcast 24/7, and did not take it back for lunch. The water level of the reservoir has dropped by more than 2/3. At first glance, it looks like a mine pit. It's coming soon, it's finally going to be drained. This reservoir is so deep, it is estimated that even the body can't be fished if it falls. That's fine. The reservoir at my house is 40 or 50 meters deep. Lu Yuan came to the shore and walked all the way towards the center of the reservoir. Coming to the water bank, Lu Yuan pushed a small wooden boat and rowed to the center of the water. Although the water level has dropped by 2/3, the depth is also 5 or 6 meters. If you accidentally stumble and fall, you will die. 666. Xiao Lu took the boat for the first time and jumped up and down excitedly as he saw the water all around. After paddling to the water center, Lu Yuan stood up and said, "I'll go down and have a look." It's been 5 days, and netizens are anxious, and so is he. He couldn't wait a little longer, and wanted to go down and see what was hidden underneath. Take it easy, the water is still deep. You should bring a swimming ring anyway. Old Lu is very brave, but I wouldn't dare to go into the water if it were me. Don't be afraid to know how to swim. My dad goes swimming in the river every year. Hee, those who drown are all water. Lu Yuan took off his clothes and pants, which contained a pair of swimming trunks. He came here today to find out. What did I see? Abs. Lao Lu actually has abdominal muscles. This figure, love. This anchor has a really good figure and perfect muscle lines. Many netizens in the live broadcast room were instantly attracted by the muscles under Lu Yuan's clothes when they saw the muscles. The male netizens were full of jealousy when they said sour words one by one. Even if he looks handsome, his figure is so good. Stay here and don't run around. Tell the little six. Lu Yuan put on his swimming goggles and jumped down with a plop. Lu Yuan knew how to swim, so he didn't dare to say how powerful he was, at least he couldn't drown. As for the swimming skills he got in the lottery, he never took it too seriously. But after entering the water, I finally understand the awesomeness of this skill. The moment he entered the water, he felt that the surrounding water merged with himself. He can use the simplest movements and consume the least amount of effort to make himself swim faster. The best part is that he held his breath longer. On the one hand, the potential drink improves physical fitness. On the one hand, his swimming skills allowed him to master better breath-holding skills. I knew it was so powerful, and it came down that day. What is more than 20 meters deep? Not a problem at all. All the way down, the water depth is about 6 meters, and it will soon reach the bottom. The water is not clear enough, the sun doesn't shine down, and it's dark underneath. In front of him, golden light flickered. This was a treasure spot, but no treasure was seen. That's down there, you have to dig up to know what's underneath. He continued to swim towards the next treasure point, without success. I searched 6 places in a row, but found nothing. He was not disappointed, but rather happy. That means the baby isn't something like a wallet. Of course, it is also possible that the wallet is buried underneath. But unlikely. He looked elsewhere again, and was suddenly stunned. He saw that a golden light was moving. Lu Yuan. What the hell? Baby's still moving. He immediately reacted. It was a fish. The only things that can move underwater are fish. When scanning before, there was too much golden light, densely packed, and he didn't notice it. At this moment, deep in the bottom of the water, the density was pulled apart, allowing him to observe this phenomenon. How big does this fish have to be in order to be judged as a treasure by the system? Lu Yuan didn't go after him. He had been underwater for 4 or 5 minutes, and he had to go up. Netizens were a little anxious seeing that Lu Yuan didn't come up for a long time. Old Lu won't hang up, right? It's been almost 5 minutes. Do you want to call the police? It's all here, let's go up the incense stick. Puff. A head appeared on the water beside the boat. Lu Yuan wiped his face and climbed onto the boat. It's okay, I'm still alive. Worry, outrageous, Lao Lu is too watery. 4 minutes and 40 seconds, this breath hold time is longer than that of an athlete. Lao Lu, when did you secretly learn to swim? Netizens were shocked by how long he held his breath. Sitting on the boat, Lu Yuan shook the water droplets from his hair and said, I just went down for a spin, and there are many big fish besides the stones. How big is it? Is there a big fish over a meter long? How deep is it? Lu Yuan said, it's about 6 meters deep. I haven't seen the ones that are more than 1 meter long. There are quite a few ones that are half a meter long. There are cockroaches, silver carp and bighead carp, and grass carp. It's a fisherman's paradise. Don't smoke, Lao Lu, keep it for me to fish. There's nothing, so you don't deserve to die. Lu Yuan paddled the boat to the shore and watched the pumping machine that kept running day and night pumping water. In 2 or 3 days, it would be finished. My pickaxe is thirsty. Time flickers. 2 more days passed. At noon that day, Lu Yuan was eating at home when he suddenly received a call to pump water. "Mr. Lu, come quickly, something happened to the reservoir." Lu Yuan shuddered. "Someone fell into the water." "It's not this, come on anyway, I've already had the water pump stop, and the water can't be pumped." Hearing the anxious and helpless tone of the other party, Lu Yuan was even more anxious than he was when he couldn't ask anything on the phone. After hanging up the phone, Lu Yuan put down the tableware and said, "I'll go to the reservoir, you guys eat first." All the way to the accelerator to the end, 10 minutes to arrive. Lu Yuan, who was far away, looked down, and the roaring sound of the water pump was gone. Old Chen, who provided the water pump, stood on the shore, looking anxious with the workers, stepping on his feet to look at the reservoir from time to time. "Why is Lao Lu here? Arrived 40 minutes early today. Why did the pump stop?" Netizens looked curiously at Lu Yuan, who suddenly ran over. Lu Yuan ran up and asked, "What's going on?" Lao Chen pointed to the reservoir and said, "Yes, there are sharks." Shark. If it wasn't for Lao Chen's serious expression, he really felt that this guy was making fun of him. "This is so fresh water, are you telling me there are sharks here? Do you believe this yourself?" "What, shark? I die laughing, there are sharks in the freshwater reservoir, I really want to die laughing." "Is it from Lao Lu Fang?" Old Lu is not so boring. No one believed it at all. Lu Yuan didn't believe it either. Old Chen didn't believe it even more. "I know you don't believe it, but there really are sharks, I didn't see them alone." A few workers next to him said, "We saw it too, it's a shark." Quote. Lu Yuan was silent. Looking at the serious expressions of Lao Chen and the others, he didn't know what to say. "It's the same as the truth, I almost believed it. Why doesn't Lao Lu speak?" "Old Lu is afraid that the defense is not broken. I will contract a reservoir. You tell me there are sharks in it." Anyone with a bit of common sense would not dare to say that. Netizens didn't believe it at all, but they were curious about what Lao Chen and the others saw. From their expressions, they must have seen something. But definitely not sharks. Lu Yuan was a little less confident. His first reaction was that there could be no sharks. But the thought of diving that day and seeing the swimming baby made him a little shaken. Ordinary fish should not be called treasures. If it's a shark, it immediately makes sense. But this is a reservoir. Lu Yuan asked, "When did you see the shark? Did you take a picture?" "I didn't have time to shoot. I'll call you then." "Mr. Lu, can this water still be pumped? If this kills the shark, we won't go to jail, right?" They are not afraid of being bitten by sharks, no matter how ferocious the sharks are, they are also fish. As long as you don't go down, don't be afraid. The point is, does this thing protect animals? What if I die? They are here to make money, they don't want to lose money. Lu Yuan glanced at the reservoir, which covered thousands of acres, and only the middle one still had water. "The water depth will not exceed 3 meters. Lu Yuan said, "Put down the net and fish out the fish. No matter what kind of fish, you will know when you get it out of the net." "Are you going to fish?" "I've been waiting for this day for a long time. It's too early to start fishing now, at least you have to draw about 1.5 meters. When you reach 1.5 meters, the sharks are all dead." "Do you really believe in sharks?" Lu Yuan walked towards the little remaining water and said, "I'll contact the zoo later, if it's really a shark, let them take it away." He stood on the bank and looked into the water. There is a golden light that keeps moving, and there is more than one. Lu Yuan was a little confused, what the heck was going on? Old Chen said, "That's okay, you contact the zoo first, and I'll pull the net." Before Lu Yuan could find out the zoo's phone number, the zoo took the initiative to call him. There is a Jinyu Lake Wildlife Park near Yangalan Village. It is one of the only 2 zoos in Yingtian City. Lu Yuan's action of pumping water and digging for treasure is so popular that it has attracted the attention of all walks of life. Pump water, catch fish, and dig treasure. Every keyword has a fatal attraction to men. Maybe some people don't like fishing, but no one can refuse to fish. Lu Yuan's actions this time were like hunting in a modern city. And hunting is a gene engraved in a man's bones, indelible. There are also people watching the live broadcast in the zoo, from morning to night, eating and shit. The zoo didn't believe it when they learned that there were sharks, but they were sure that they were also interested. Let's go over now, Mr. Liu, you can pull up the internet cafe first. It is good. The zoo sends a car. Lao Chen also called someone to come and go offline. The matter of starting the fish was 1 to 2 days earlier than expected. Lu Yuan called his father and told him that he was going to pick up the fish, and the contact person came to collect the fish. Half an hour later, the whole village came. This weekend, the children in the village did not go to school. When they heard that they were going to catch fish, they jumped in excitement. Online is also lively. #Lingshan Reservoir shocked to find a shark rushed to the hot search, causing netizens to watch and laugh. I really don't have any common sense. There are sharks in freshwater reservoirs. All die of laughter. A reservoir has been in the hot search for a week, and there are new tricks every day. The anchor's 150,000 flowers are really worth it. Finally, I have fish. If I can't afford any more fish, I'm going to go crazy. Look, the 150,000 contract is definitely a loss. The online live broadcast room has also reached an unprecedented height, with a full 10 million online. For the first time, it officially broke 10 million. Old Lu, there can't be sharks underneath, right? I saw a group of Weibo laughing at you. Let them joke, the shark is not what Lao Lu said. Lu Yuan shook his head and said, there can't be sharks. This is the sky, not the sea. Even if it is released artificially, it is impossible to live to this day. With his knowledge of animals, sharks cannot survive. But they did see it. Then there is only one explanation. There are big fish in the reservoir, and they are big fish that look like sharks. Lu Yuan was too lazy to think about it, he knew what it was when he fished together. After waiting for another 10 minutes, the zoo came. They drove a large car with seawater in the carriage for the sharks in the reservoir. Come on, close the net. Lao Chen shouted that hundreds of people began to close the net on both sides of the reservoir. As soon as the net was closed, the small water surface immediately boiled, and the fish jumped out and slapped the water surface, trying to escape the fishing net. They don't care either, the little fish doesn't care. When the net bag was half received, a child on the shore suddenly shouted, "Shark, I saw a shark." I saw a huge dorsal fin sticking out of the water in the half of the water where the net had not been recaptured, making a ripple and then sinking quickly. For a while, the shore was boiling. Everyone saw it. The live broadcast room also exploded. It's really a shark. Hold the grass, what the hell is this? Where did the sharks come from in the freshwater reservoir? Old Lu, did you let it go? My 3 views are broken. Lu Yuan was stunned when he saw it. The flashing dorsal fin quickly searched in his mind, and he quickly matched with a creature. That's not a shark, but it's worth more than a shark. Lu Yuan smiled calmly without explaining. That dorsal fin does look like a shark. But with the animal and plant picture book, he quickly saw that it was not a shark. It is an extremely precious protected animal, known as the giant panda in the water. Quick, close the net, quickly close. Old Chen was more excited than anyone else. See that, I just said it was a shark, and they didn't believe them, and they laughed at me. With the continuous closing of the big net, there are more and more fish, and hundreds of people can't pull it. Lu Yuan walked over and grabbed a rope to share the pressure for them. When the big net was about to be pulled to the shore, a behemoth suddenly jumped out of the water, crossed the fishing net to intercept it, drew a beautiful arc in the air, and escaped the fishing net. This time, everyone can see clearly. Not a shark. What fish is this? I've never seen it before, it looks so strange. Grandpa, I saw a big fish. It's so big. Can you go down and catch it? Grandpa will be eaten by big fish. The villagers on the shore did not recognize the fish, but netizens did. It's a Chinese sturgeon. Worry, what a big Chinese sturgeon. This one is at least 4 meters, right? I'm afraid it's not perfect. That's the dorsal fin just now. It looks like a shark. Where did the Chinese sturgeon come from in this ghost place? The reservoir was originally connected to the river. I checked it, critically endangered protected animals. Lao Lu, take it easy, you want to drink tea if you kill it. On this one, Lao Lu's cost is all back. If you think too much, the protected animals can't be sold, and you will be given some bonuses if you die. This is a giant panda in the water. If Lao Lu doesn't broadcast it live and sells it secretly, it could cost millions. Comrade, this idea of yours is unacceptable. Lu Yuan has been staring at the lake. A golden light is moving fast. It is the Chinese sturgeon that has just escaped from the fishing net. In addition, 2 golden lights sank in the water and were not caught by the fishing nets. At this time, the fishing net has been dragged ashore. All kinds of fish fell heavily into the fishing nets and struggled to turn over after being dragged ashore. A group of children came running over, squatting on the ground and watching the lively big fish, very happy. Grandpa also came over and greeted the villagers with a smile. Come here to get the fish. Only then did the villagers come forward and look at the hill-like school of fish, and they were overjoyed. The fishmongers also arrived, and the villagers did not go up until the fish had been collected. Old Chen came over and said, Mr. Lu, what's up with that shark in the water? It's not a shark, it's a Chinese sturgeon. Yes, not a shark. Old Chen blushed. He saw it too, but didn't recognize it. The fish was really big, at least 4 meters long. With a tail drawn, it can stun people. Since the sky is not close to the sea, people here rarely see such big fish. Lu Yuan said, pump the water first, the water level is still too high. Lao Chen used to pump water. Lu Yuan found the people at the zoo. Please make a trip, the big fish won't be able to come up for a while. Why don't you go back first, and come back when you're done pumping? It's okay, no problem. The people at the zoo are very talkative. No wonder they were easy to talk, mainly because the fish was too precious. Chinese sturgeon, water giant panda, critically endangered protected animal. Their zoo is large, but the aquarium is small. There are only so many kinds of fish in it, and there is nothing that can be taken out. If I can bring this Chinese sturgeon back, this one is enough. They were reluctant to leave, and could not wait to go down and fish them up immediately. Lu Yuan hummed and went over to stare at the lake for a while. The fish was almost harvested, and the children were almost playing, so Lu Yuan went home. Old Lu, don't go, wait a minute, maybe the Chinese sturgeon will jump out. Such a big Chinese sturgeon is gone now. There are specimens, and it seems that the living ones are really gone. It's amazing to be able to get this one out. The netizens were even more excited than him, and Lu Yuan said, wait, at most 2 days, you can get it. On the internet, the video of the Chinese sturgeon carp jumping over the dragon gate and pulling out the fishing net went crazy. No one is talking about sharks, everyone is talking about Chinese sturgeon. Chinese sturgeon, this is a fish whose name sounds like a dragon. The symbolic meaning is more important than the actual meaning, and the whole people are paying attention. Yingtian city government is paying attention. Naturally, it also attracted the attention of other zoos. There are 2 zoos in Yingtian city. Today, the Jinyu Lake Wildlife Park is one, and there is a more famous one, Hongshan Zoo. Hongshan Zoo is in the urban area. When they heard about this, they immediately came to Yangalan village to find Lu Yuan. At this time, the director of Hongshan Zoo was chatting with Lu Yuan in the yard. Mr. Lu, please give this Chinese sturgeon to our zoo. Director Zhou Wendao. The environment of our zoo is very suitable for Chinese sturgeon to survive, and the location of our zoo can also allow more tourists to come easily. Lu Yuan said, I contacted Jinyu first, it's not easy to go back on my word. It's okay, I'll go find them. This, Lu Yuan thought to himself, didn't you put me on fire? Promise other people's things, and bring something like this. Just when I was thinking about how to refuse, a few middle-aged people came outside. Bang bang bang. Dad went to open the door and asked nonsense, who are you looking for? Hello, I'm looking for Mr. Lu Yuan. Come in first, Xiao Yuan has something to do. It is good. This middle-aged man is elegant and approachable. After entering the hospital, the middle-aged man stood by and waited quietly. Lu Yuan glanced at them and said to Zhou Wen, there are guests here, wait a moment, I'll go over and ask. He walked over, and the middle-aged man stretched out his hand and said, hello, Mr. Lu, I'm Huang Ziqiang, the mayor of Yingtian City. Dad and Grandpa looked over at the same time. Lu Yuan was quite surprised. Hello Mayor Huang, what are you looking for from me? Huang Ziqiang said, I heard that there was a Chinese sturgeon in the reservoir you contracted. I came here to find a home for it. Zhou Wen also recognized Huang Ziqiang, but he didn't expect all of them to come. He stepped forward and said, Mayor Huang, I am the director of Hongshan Zoo, Zhou Wen. I came here for the same purpose as you, to find a home for the Chinese sturgeon. Leave it to me. A middle-aged man next to Mayor Huang coughed twice and said, President Zhou, let's leave professional things to professional people. Seeing this person, Zhou Wen's heart sank suddenly. After the calf, why did he come? He knew that this Chinese sturgeon could not be kept by himself. The middle-aged man reached out to Lu Yuan. Mr. Lu, get to know me, I am the director of Ocean World, Lu Changing. Huang Ziqiang said. Mr. Lu, Director Lu's Ocean World is very large, suitable for all kinds of aquatic animals, and there are corresponding experts. Lu Changing said. The Ocean World is only for protection, and ultimately the Yangtze River will be released. It should not be tied to the Ocean World. Lu Yuan agrees with this sentence. President Lu and I thought of going together. Don't worry, Mr. Lu, I won't play tricks with you about this kind of thing. It's all stipulated in the text. We only have the duty to rescue the wild animals found in the wild, and we don't have the qualifications to keep them in captivity. It doesn't matter if it's SeaWorld or the zoo. Lu Yuan said. The day after tomorrow, the water can be drained, and then you can come and take it away. It is good. After the matter was settled, they stayed soon and left directly. Zhou Wen felt a little uncomfortable. The feeling of being cut off halfway through was really uncomfortable. But to be honest, in the entire Yingtian, only SeaWorld is the most qualified. After they left, Lu Yuan called Jinyu Lake Zoo again and told them the matter. Although the other party regretted, he did not say anything. The next day, noon. A large truck was parked on the shore, and the compartment was filled with fresh water. The staff of SeaWorld stood on the shore and waited quietly. Lu Yuan saw a familiar figure, Yi Susu of City Channel. She also came to interview. The reservoir was getting shallower and shallower, and Lu Yuan could almost see the few golden spots of light swimming slowly in the small water. Two of the light spots are slowly emerging towards the water surface. But when these two light spots surfaced, the corner of Lu Yuan's mouth twitched. Why is there such a thing in the reservoir? At this moment, a child suddenly shouted on the shore, Grandpa, look, there is a crocodile. Grandpa gave the child a head. Nonsense, where did the crocodile come from? The child pointed to the water and said, look, that's a crocodile. Everyone thought the child was joking. But with a glance, my dear, what is that thing floating on the water? Netizens also saw it. Hold the grass, it's really a crocodile. Your sister, what kind of reservoir is this? How come there are even crocodiles? This is the dragon country, this is Yingtian, where did the crocodile come from? The temple is small, the wind is strong, the water is shallow, and the reservoir is not large. The variety is really complete. Stand up the pot, hold the pot, Lao Lu quickly put up the pot. The adults on the shore grabbed the child and stepped back, looking terrified. Crocodile, it can eat people, and a bite is incredible. Lu Yuan calmed down at this moment, and he was also stunned when he first saw it. It is not surprising to determine the species of the crocodile at this moment. Lu Yuan took a bag of bread from the car and walked towards the shore. Dad shouted, Xiao Yuan, come back, that's a crocodile. It's okay, don't bite. Lu Yuan waved his hand without turning his head, and introduced to netizens as he walked, don't be surprised, and don't be surprised. It might be strange to say that there are crocodiles in other places, but it is normal to have crocodiles in our place. Lu Yuan walked to the shore and threw a few pieces of bread at random. Then netizens were shocked to see that the two crocodiles swam slowly and took a bite of the bread. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Crocodiles eat bread. What kind of crocodile is this? Taking advantage of the gap between them eating the bread, Lu Yuan jumped into the water with one stride, holding the crocodile's neck with one hand and raising it to the surface. It was only at this moment that the crocodile reacted and started to struggle, but Lu Yuan's hands were like iron pincers, no matter how much he struggled, it was useless. This is a Chinese alligator, a native of Longguo. It is very small. The bite force can probably kill a fish. In recent years, the country has released a lot of animals, and many fishermen have encountered them when they were fishing. Lu Yuan said a few words about science and carried the crocodile ashore. Only then did everyone see clearly that the two crocodiles were a bit delicate in size. Lu Yuan carried the crocodile to the staff of SeaWorld. The Chinese crocodile, watch and deal with it. Throw them at their feet. The staff are also well informed and not afraid at all, and they will be arrested one by one. The Chinese alligator. It seems to be protecting animals, right? Take it off. Now, any animal may be a protected animal, so there is nothing strange about it. It turned out to be a Chinese alligator, so it can't be a crocodile. I punch one. That said, I can hit two with one punch. An hour later, the water level dropped another meter or so. The drained place was muddy everywhere, and the fish jumped alive. Crash! The Chinese sturgeon jumped out of the water again, but as the water surface continued to drop, the Chinese sturgeon also stopped struggling. Half an hour later, the Chinese sturgeon was netted out of the water. After the water came out, everyone could see how big this Chinese sturgeon was. Someone specially brought a ruler. After measuring, he was surprised to find that it was 4.2 meters long and weighed at least 300 or 400 pounds. A full 8 people lifted it up and gently put it into the fresh water that had been prepared in the carriage. The staff of SeaWorld said, "Mr. Liu, thank you this time, we will go back first." Well, walk slowly. People from SeaWorld left with alligators and Chinese sturgeons. The last bit of water was also drained. The pumping work of Lingshan Reservoir has officially ended. Lu Yuan stood in the reservoir and looked around. There were fish everywhere. Turtles, eels, snakes. Everywhere. The villagers were allowed to pick it up happily. Lu Yuan glanced at the time and said, "Go back to eat first, and come over to dig for treasure after eating. I have a hunch that this reservoir will not disappoint me." Back home, only my mother and grandma. Dad and grandpa are still in the reservoir, and the last bit of fish has started. They have to settle with the fishmonger. After dinner, the two came back, chatting and laughing along the way. As soon as he entered the yard, Dad asked, "Xiao Yuan, guess how much the fish in the reservoir sold for?" Lu Yuan pondered for a few seconds. The fish from the past 2 days flashed in his mind, and said, "Around 130,000. Dad stared. "You guess?" "Well, guess what? The guess is really accurate." Dad didn't think he should have asked him. Lu Yuan picked up the pickaxe, grabbed the car key and walked out. "I'm going to the reservoir." Instead of riding a motorcycle, he drove a big pickup. He threw the pickaxe into the car, opened the car door, and Xiao Lu rushed up ahead of him. After driving to the reservoir, the drone flew over and followed behind Lu Yuan. Old Lu is really efficient. Hurry up, go digging, my favorite treasure digging session is here. It's up to me, Lao Lu, to dig treasure, and no one else can. 2 days ago, I saw an anchor who followed Lao Lu, Nima, dug up a wild ginseng with 6 rank leaves on the first day, so fake it was dead. Wild ginseng, holding the grass, is it so much to follow the trend now? That's fake. Garden ginseng can grow into 6th grade leaves in a year or 2. It's worthless. If it was true, it would have been sold and broadcast live. The reservoir is empty, the fish is sold out, and the water is dry. The huge reservoir can be clearly seen, and the treasure spots that are shining with golden light are also displayed quietly. Lu Yuan walked towards one of them. "Come to the treasure point, grab the pickaxe and dig. Dig it. I haven't dug for many days, so I'm a little rusty." Puff puff. The muddy road is easy to dig in a mess, but it is also dirty. There was mud all over the jeans, and a lot of mud was splashed on his body, arms, and even his face. Boom. Dig it. This thing is not buried deep, it only looks like 30 centimeters. What did you find? Quick batch. Don't expect too much, there won't be anything good under the reservoir. Don't be a corpse. Hey, don't be scary. Lu Yuan quickly opened up a space, and the things underneath were pitch black, and it was impossible to see the original. However, with the familiar feel of the pickaxe, he judged it to be a piece of wood. Wood like lightning strike wood. Soon, information emerged. You dug up roof beams. Room beam wood texture, golden nanmu. Length, 9 meters, tree diameter, 0.8 meters, weight, 1.4 tons. Value, 600,000. Golden nanmu. No, it's a beam. Lu Yuan squatted down and wiped the mud off the wood, but it was still pitch black. He used the pickaxe to scrape off the old layer of mud that was almost integrated, and then revealed the body of the beams. The wood is dark yellow, and in direct sunlight, it shows a dark golden color, which is the most iconic place of the golden nanmu. Brothers, the first dig is a success, and a good thing has been dug. Lu Yuan patted the wood and said, do you know this? It's over, it's the familiar greeting again. I don't have your brother. Don't go through the procedure, just say how much money, let me have a mental preparation. I really don't believe it. What good things can be under the reservoir? I recognize it, it looks like it's wood. A lightning strike again. Old Lu, hurry up and say it. After fishing for a while, Lu Yuan said, it is indeed wood, but it is not lightning strike wood. However, the value of this wood is much higher than lightning strike wood. This is golden nanmu. Impossible. This is Yingtian. Where did the golden nanmu come from? There is no golden nanmu in the south of the Yangtze River. You must have missed it, Lao Lu. Lu Yuan said. No hurry, I'll dig it out first. This one is a bit big, but fortunately it's not deep. It's very fast to dig. He continued to dig, and his hands almost waved after images. Half an hour later, a 9-meter-long mud pit was dug out. The complete beams were lying quietly in the mud pit, pitch black, and nothing could be seen. But the wood is quite straight, and you can tell at a glance that the wood is processed. And every distance of the wood, there is a steel nail more than half a meter long embedded in it. The wood is processed and has steel studs, it's beam wood. Lu Yuan gave the answer directly. This can understand why Yingtian has Jinsi Nanmu, which should be used by people in the past to build houses. Is this wood 7 or 8 meters? Whose house wants such a long beam? I can't explain it. There are steel nails, and they have been processed. They must be used for building houses, but they are not necessarily beams. This is definitely a big family. I'm afraid you didn't dig into the ancients' home. Old Lu, you have made a fortune. How big is the house with such long beams? And it is still golden nanmu. This wood has been reserved for wealthy people since ancient times. Not to mention the inconvenience of transportation in ancient times, this place is Yingtian again. If you can build a house with golden nanmu in Yingtian, you are either a merchant or an official. After thinking about it for a while, everyone became excited. On this piece of wood, Lao Lu's cost of 150,000 came back directly. Sure enough, Lao Lu never made a loss-making business. You guys are still thinking about the fish, Lao Lu just killed them. Lu Yuan just threw the wood here, so he didn't have to be afraid of being stolen. Keep digging, my luck is here, brothers, let's see if I can break my record today. Lu Yuan geared up and walked towards the next treasure spot. Puff! As soon as the hoe swung down, Lu Yuan felt that the tip of the hoe hit something, and there was a slight feedback, which was very vague. But he was sure that something must have happened. Dig it, Lu Yuan said something quickly and went straight to dig it out. One arm was completely submerged in the mud, and after 2 or 3 seconds, it was pulled out. The size of a fingernail, something like a stone spread out in the palm of his hand. You dug up broken silver. Broken silver, heavy, 20 taels. Attributes, antiquities of the Ming dynasty. Value, 2,000 yuan. Lu Yuan was stunned, not because of the broken silver, but because of the marked attributes. Can the system directly determine the dynasty of this silver? Why wasn't the wood just now marked? Are the beams modern? Or is it because the beams are too rough to be considered antiquities? He's not quite sure. As for this piece of broken silver, it means that there may be a lot of antiquities here. He wasn't sure for the time being. First, there were too few things to refer to. Second, the wood didn't have properties marked, so he couldn't make up his mind. He washed the broken silver in the puddle, revealing the lineup. It's a piece of silver. Lu Yuan showed this small piece of silver with irregular potholes to netizens. Silver is worthless, if only it were gold. How can there be so much gold for you to dig? There are a lot of good things, and Lao Lu's luck is good enough. If you dig it up, it's a piece of silver. Although it's not worth the money, you can't bear to dig something. Old Lu, don't rest, keep digging for your father. Lu Yuan put the silver in his pocket and said, this silver looks like ancient times. I suspect that there may be many ancient good things here. I think too much, how can ancient coins be so easy to mine? I suddenly remembered that when I was a child, I dug in my backyard every day. I felt that there were antiques everywhere. In the end, I dug down my latrine and was hung up by my father and smoked. Ha ha ha, hold the grass, I have done this too. I've dug too. I dug up several tree roots. I always thought they were fossils. Lu Yuan came to the third place. Dig. Ah, crack. The sound of something cracking came from under the silt. Lu Yuan withdrew his pickaxe and fiddled with it for a while, and a piece of wood popped up. You dug up the 8 Immortals table. 8 Immortals table. Texture, Wenge. Attributes, Antiquities of the Tang Dynasty. Integrity, 21%. Value, 200,000. Tang Dynasty. Lu Yuan became more and more confused. What's going on? It is also the broken silver of the Ming Dynasty, and it is the table of the 8 Immortals of the Tang Dynasty. Could it be that some collector passed by the bank and overturned the car, and all the antiques fell into the reservoir? It took him 10 minutes to lift Ba Shenjuang out. There was a hole in the middle of the table, which he dug through. There is no hole, the value can be higher. Lu Yuan's mind was not about money, but about how two things from different dynasties could appear in the same place. Incomprehensible. After wiping off the silt on it, Lu Yuan said, "The 8 Immortals table is made of chicken wing wood. It seems that the craftsmanship should be from the Tang Dynasty." He can only explain it in terms of craftsmanship. Well, you said that the Tang Dynasty is the Tang Dynasty. Old Lu Mo was stunned. It's good that the antiques are such a bad street. I got rich so early. Keep digging. In the next few hours, Lu Yuan dug up a dozen things one after another. Broken silver, broken doorposts, incense burners, hairpins, Taishi chairs. There is nothing particularly high in value. The most expensive is the golden Nanmu wood beam. Except for Ba Shenjuang and Taishi's chair, which are from the Tang Dynasty, the rest of the objects are from the Ming Dynasty. Lu Yuan glanced at the time. It was 4 o'clock. Go home when you dig another one, and dig the rest tomorrow. He walked to the treasure point 800 meters from the shore to dig. Puff puff. This dig is half an hour. He dug a hole 2 meters long and more than 1 meter deep. The silt is soft and easy to dig, and it takes little effort. But also because it was silt, he had to dig a bigger hole, which was a waste of time. Old Lu, be careful, this piece is full of silt, and you won't be able to get up if you dig deep. Do you underestimate Lao Lu's skills? Isn't there Xiao Lu? Old Lu was sweating like rain, and his clothes were soaked through. Dig for a while, and if you can't dig it, you won't dig. It's too late, and it will be dark if you dig any further. After digging for another half an hour, the earth pit was already more than 3 meters deep, and the location of the treasure point was still not dug. 10 minutes of digging. If you can't dig it, go home. Lu Yuan set himself a time. PFF'd. Snapped. Dig it. It sounded like something was being smashed to pieces. He started to fiddle with it, and it was a broken tile. Lu Yuan waited for a few seconds, but did not wait for the system prompt. That's not it. He continued to dig, digging and digging tiles, but the system prompt never appeared. Wei's eye strange also. Lu Yuan couldn't understand. Stop digging, go home for dinner, and continue tomorrow. Throwing the pickaxe, Lu Yuan jumped up and climbed the wall of the pit. With a flexible body, he climbed up without much effort. He grabbed the pickaxe, packed up the scattered things, carried the 8 Immortals table and walked towards the shore. See you tomorrow, everyone. After the broadcast, Lu Yuan threw the table into the carriage and brought the Taishi chair up again. Then he took off his clothes and drove home in big pants. On the way home, Lu Yuan kept thinking about the process of digging for treasures in the afternoon. The tables and chairs of the Tang Dynasty are all from the Ming Dynasty. And the last pit dug, more than 3 meters deep, found nothing. I thought there was something down there, but it wasn't too deep. I planned to use the reservoir as my last dig in my hometown, but I didn't expect to give myself such a big surprise. He seriously suspected that the rest of the hidden treasures that had not been dug up might be all antiquities hidden underneath. When he got home, Dad watched him bring the table and chairs back and wondered, "Where did you pick it up?" The reservoir was dug. Oh, Dad doesn't ask anymore. It's normal to dig under the reservoir. You'll never know what's hiding under these until the water is drained. He suspected that there were corpses in the reservoir. Although whoever drained it and saw nothing, who could say for sure whether it was buried under the silt? Early the next morning, Lu Yuan got up at 6 o'clock. He had a hunch that the good things in the reservoir would be difficult to dig out in a short period of time, so he would dig a little longer every day. If it was all beams, he would have rented an excavator to dig. But there are antiquities, so be careful, you can only use a pickaxe. The excavator is fast and efficient, but it is estimated that it is broken and worthless when it is dug up. Not worth the loss. Lu Yuan has a huge appetite now. He ate a dozen boiled eggs for breakfast, drank a bottle of water, patted his stomach, and left with Xiao Lu. When we got there, Lu Yuan started broadcasting. In the early morning, the live broadcast room was quiet and no one was there, which was also a rare scene. Many netizens have set up a broadcast reminder. As soon as the broadcast started here, many netizens came in after a while. Lao Lu beat chicken blood today. It's only 6:30, and the broadcast starts. Just after the night shift, people are on the bus, and I suddenly feel refreshed. Lu Yuan had already arrived at the place he dug yesterday, and the huge dirt pit was clearly visible. He didn't jump down, and after observing for a while, he decided to dig other treasure spots first. There is a place 10 meters apart. He walked over to dig. 2 hours later, the sun was shining brightly, and he was a little suspicious of life. Just like yesterday afternoon, he dug a pit more than 3 meters deep, but there was still nothing. Yesterday anyway, I dug a few tiles, but there are no tiles at all. He climbed out, changed places and continued digging. At 9 o'clock, the number of netizens gradually increased. Has Lao Lu excavated? Old Lu came to dig at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. Hold the grass, what's going on with Lao Lu today? Old Lu is worth 500 million and still works so hard. Why don't I work hard? Starting today, keep watching movies every day. 3 hours, Lao Lu didn't find anything. After watching the replay, Lao Lu dug 2 holes and found nothing. The key is to dig deep. I said long ago that there will be no treasures under the reservoir. That one piece of wood will not lose money. While the netizens were chatting and laughing, Lu Yuan had already jumped out of the dirt pit. Change places and keep digging. Soon, 11 o'clock. Lu Yuan has dug 4 pits, each 3 meters deep, with no harvest. Go back to eat and continue in the afternoon. Lu Yuan didn't say much, he couldn't dig or pretend to pretend. Is this gone? This familiar scene, Lao Lu a month ago, he's back. Old Lu also misses times. The live broadcast room was full of joy. Go home, take a shower and eat. During the meal, Lu Yuan frowned, thinking about the situation in the morning. It is impossible for the system to deceive itself. Since the baby is scanned, it must be there. I couldn't dig, there was only one reason, my posture was wrong. No, it's just not digging deep enough. But it's 3 meters, how deep is it? Is it possible to dig him 10 meters? Lu Yuan had never encountered such a thing before, and had no idea for a while. After having lunch and resting for a while, Lu Yuan set off. Come here, Lao Lu came with a hoe. Old Lu, make persistent efforts this afternoon. It's normal that you can't dig, don't be discouraged. They were worried that Lu Yuan wouldn't dig if he couldn't dig. After all, he has made so much money now that he has long been free of wealth. Laughing and laughing, they still hope that Lu Yuan can keep digging. Lu Yuan looked at the barrage and smiled knowingly. Don't worry, I plan to dig all over the world, where will I go? Even if the village is not out, can I give up? Well said, come on, Lao Lu, dig through the earth. When are you going to dig somewhere else? It is said that there was a bandit in my house hundreds of years ago. Do you want to come and try it, Lao Lu? Lu Yuan came to a place not far from a few earth holes dug in the morning. It's here. This time, it's impossible to dig and change the place. This time, no matter how deep it is, it must be dug. Dig. Puff. The silt under the feet has been clumped under the sun's rays, but it is only the surface and the bottom is still pulpy. 10 minutes. Half an hour. 2 hours later, Lu Yuan dug another 3-meter deep hole. As before, still nothing. He had expected it, and continued to dig without stopping. This time, I will not give up until I dig it. He wanted to see what was hidden underneath. Seeing Lu Yuan sweating like rain and digging tirelessly, everyone felt like they were watching an absentee digging. Mining industry is missing talent. Lao Lu is too fierce. I'm really afraid that he will bury himself. I have the craftsmanship of Lao Lu. In the future, I will dig my own grave, which can save a lot of money. Just this one-handed digging job, any expert who dares to beep in the future will be buried alive. Buried alive is considered a hang, and Lao Lu was furious and digged up the ancestral grave of the expert. Ha ha ha, digging ancestral graves is so spiritual. Old Lu, don't let me know where your ancestral grave is. Really, your mother is gone. At this time, boom, dig it. Chapter 31. Lu Yuan is sure, he definitely got it. This feedback, the wood is undoubtedly less than 4 meters deep. A piece of wood was dug up, and Lu Yuan felt a little regretful. Although he didn't know what he was expecting, the wood, it was always a little short. Digging the soil on both sides, Lu Yuan gradually realized that something was wrong. First of all, this wood is different from the golden nanmu that was dug out yesterday. The golden nanmu is horizontal, this one is vertical, and the size is not as good as the golden nanmu. Second, and most important, the system did not give a prompt. So, this treasure spot is not this wood. What the hell did I dig? Lu Yuan leaned against the dirt wall of the dirt pit, his eyes a little desperate. Your sister, one morning, I finally dug a piece of wood, but the result is still not good. Wrong. He suddenly squatted on the ground and looked closely at the log. From the texture of the wood, he judged that it was ash. Although it is not as precious as golden nanmu, its value is not low. It definitely meets the standard of the system for babies. But why haven't there been hints yet? What part went wrong? Looking at the time, it was already 11 o'clock. Lu Yuan took out his mobile phone and called his father. Hey, Dad, do you have time? Bring me some boiled eggs. Not going back. Back to the bird. The baby can't be dug. What's the thought of eating? Keep digging. He doesn't change places, just digs here. Don't go home today if you don't dig this thing out. Old Lu dug another log. Is this also golden nanmu? I don't know, I can't see it. The wood was pitch black, and the pit was so deep and the light was too dim that the drone couldn't capture it clearly. 40 minutes later, Dad came on a motorcycle, standing by the reservoir with a lunch box, his face blank. Where is my son? Dad got angry with Dantian and shouted, Xiao Yuan. Lu Yuan waved the hand of the hoe for a while, took a breath and shouted outside, Dad, I'm here. Hearing the response, Dad ran over immediately. Came to the pit to see, my son, is this digging a grave? What are you digging? So deep. Lu Yuan didn't answer and asked, where's the food? Here, come up. Lu Yuan took a pickaxe and dug a small hole on the edge of the dirt hole and climbed up. Mom knew that he would not come back, so she made him a loving lunch. Beef, trotters, and old duck soup, quite hearty. Lu Yuan ate so much that his mind had already flown 9 days away. Look at Lao Lu's lunch, and then look at my lunch box. It's broken. This lunch looks delicious. I suddenly miss the taste of my mother. Lao Lu is a real Iron Man. From 6 o'clock till now, he can dig holes better than pangolins. Lu has to learn from experience when he sees it. After eating, Lu Yuan wiped his mouth and said, I'm going to dig, you go back first. Dad said, do you want me to dig for you? No need, I can do this. He didn't want to hit his father, mainly because he was so old, and it was easy to flash his waist. Dad didn't insist either. He sent the lunch box back and ran back after a while. He carried a box of Sprite and snacks, squatted aside, and asked from time to time, are you thirsty? Are you hungry? Lu Yuan didn't eat it, and Xiao Lu started to eat it. He leaned on his father's thigh, his little paws nimbly tore open the snacks, crunched and sipped, and took a sip from time to time. Jiasheng is like this, what more can you ask for? Lu Yuan had dug up to a depth of 5 meters, and the Manchurian ash was also exposed for more than 1 meter, but it still didn't reach the bottom. Lu Yuan wiped his sweat and continued digging. After an hour, the ash finally came to an end. The Manchurian ash that was dug out was about 2 meters long and stood firmly in the mud pit. Lu Yuan poked with his hand. Click. In Lu Yuan's sluggishness, the bottom of the Manchurian ash was suddenly disconnected. Then, the system beep sounds. You dug up the ash willow. Manchurian ash length, 2.3 meters. Tree diameter, 0.5 meters. Weight, 300 pounds. Value, 20,000. This. Lu Yuan stared at his feet. Looking at the ash willow lying on the dirt pit, his mind changed. The treasure here is this ash. Why wasn't there a prompt before? A prompt appeared after the break, because it was connected as one. What the hell is going on down there? Lu Yuan asked and answered himself, vaguely guessing something in his heart, and grabbed it suddenly. His eyes lit up. This below, is it possible that it is a hole? This guess made Lu Yuan a little excited, and the hands holding the hoe were shaking. No wonder those hidden treasures, after digging more than 3 meters, can't see anything. No wonder the tiles were dug before. If the following is a hole, it can be explained. 3 meters underground, it is very likely that a complete building is hidden. Those tiles are the roof. This ash willow is a column. The golden nanmu is the beam wood. As for why the beams are in the shallow layer, maybe they were washed up by the water. There was a building here that year, and it was flooded and buried the whole building. Lu Yuan started brainstorming and made crazy associations. He felt that what he had guessed might be the truth. But in some places it doesn't make sense. For example, why are the tables and chairs from the Tang dynasty and other things from the Ming dynasty? Don't think about the details, at least one thing is certain. Below is a hole. As for whether it is a building or not, we have to dig it out to find out. He stood up and looked at the rammed soil under his feet, feeling that his physical blood was boiling. Looking around, it was golden. To excavate it completely, the amount of work is huge. But Lu Yuan felt motivated. It is exciting to think about digging out an ancient building with your own hands. Has Lao Lu been hit? I've been stunned for a few minutes. Everyone will be hit. I dug so many holes, and there is nothing. Isn't this digging a log? It's not a good thing at first glance, otherwise Lao Lu would have said it earlier. Lu Yuan said, "Brothers, I have found something good." He patted the wood and said, "Ash, have you seen it? And based on my observations in the past few days, I guess there may be an ancient house buried under it." Crowd. Ancient house. What kind of ancient house? Lao Lu, have you read too many novels? Although there is silver, hairpins, and tables and chairs, it doesn't match the ancient house. Lu Yuan knew that no one believed him, and he was just guessing. I'll find out when I dig it out, just wait and see. Lu Yuan climbed into the pit and dug in another place. This time, after only 10 minutes of digging, Lu Yuan heard a cracking sound. You dug up the salt jar. Salt jar. Texture, pottery. Attribute, Ming dynasty. Integrity, 70%. Value, 1500. Lu Yuan picked up the salt jar and wiped it, revealing the true appearance of the porcelain. He became more and more certain that there was a high possibility that there was an ancient house underneath. It's starting, Lao Lu is starting to gain something. Does breaking a jar count as a harvest? I can dig this thing every time I dig bamboo shoots. The most annoying thing is that people throw this thing into the water, and the feet are often cut when fishing. Lu Yuan flashed the cleaned jar. Look, the stuff from the Ming dynasty. Quote. Enough, old Lu. If this is from the Ming dynasty, I will swallow it directly. Lu Yuan put the jar aside and collected it together at home in the evening. Dad came over and said, "This is from the Ming dynasty." Yes, the salt jar, the ancients filled it with salt. You still understand this? Dad looked at him strangely. Is this still my son? This is my son, and like father like son. Dad's back straightened. Going to the next place, Lu Yuan continued to dig. You dug up the bowl. Porcelain bowl. Texture, pottery. Attribute, Ming dynasty. Integrity 81%. Value, 2,000 yuan. The bowl of the Ming dynasty is not a good thing, but it is from the Ming dynasty. Introducing, Lu Yuan threw it to his father, put it with the salt jar. Dad took it happily and placed it carefully. This is from the Ming dynasty, an antique. Definitely worth a lot. You can blow it hard. No one understands antiques anyway, what you say is what. Anyone who knows how to do it. Come out and have a chat. I understand a little bit, but I can't see it through the live broadcast room. In the next few hours, Lu Yuan dug out more than a dozen crockpots one after another. He is no longer obsessed with digging the buildings below. As long as more than half a meter has not been harvested, change places immediately. Get the bottles and jars on the surface first, and then get the bottom. At 5 o'clock in the evening, Lu Yuan threw a pile of cans into the car, and the father and son drove home. Early the next morning, it was still 6 o'clock, so Lu Yuan came over to dig after a casual meal. When I dug until the next night, netizens faintly noticed that something was wrong. Porcelain, isn't it too much? In just 2 days, at least hundreds of pieces of porcelain were dug up by Lu Yuan. In particular, every time something was dug up, Lu Yuan introduced it in a serious way, as if it was true. Aren't these really antiques? There's too much china, and it's not normal. Old Lu, do you want to take it for identification? Yes, let's identify it. What if it's an antique? Lu Yuan walked towards the shore carrying today's harvest. No need for appraisal, it's the truth. There are many good things in the ground. If we really need appraisal, we will wait until later. Don't hurry up to identify, I want to know if it's true. Don't hang people up. Old Lu, do you sell porcelain? My family is short of bowls to eat. I like that pile of bowls. How about selling them for 100 yuan? My family is in short supply, so sell me some too. Many old fans of Lu Yuan have responded. They followed them all the way, from digging treasures to the present, but when they dug out, what Lu Yuan said was, they basically didn't run away. He said that this is the porcelain of the Ming dynasty, and there is a high probability that it is. Lu Yuan rolled his eyes. What are you thinking? Picked up on my head. Throwing the things in the carriage, Lu Yuan said, go home, continue tomorrow. After dinner, Lu Yuan received a call from Wu Jia. Mr. Lu, do you need an expert in porcelain appraisal? What? Lu Yuan didn't understand what she meant. Wu Jia said, I think the porcelains you introduced are all from the Ming dynasty. The platform can help you invite experts in this field to come over and help you identify them on the spot. If it is true, your popularity in the live broadcast room will definitely be more prosperous. Wu Jia is now staring at Lu Yuan's live broadcast room every day. She didn't react at first, but after seeing the reactions of netizens, she suddenly thought of this idea. It's all fake, what if it's real? Ask an expert to identify it on the spot. The effect of this program is not directly pulled into the atmosphere. Lu Yuan also guessed what she meant, thought about it and said, okay, no problem. I'll contact you right away, and I'll be there at noon tomorrow at the latest. Wu Jia hung up the phone and started to contact, asking a porcelain appraisal expert to come to the site for appraisal, and it would take a few days to spend a lot of money. However, being able to go to the site for appraisal, with the blessing of tens of millions of traffic in Lu Yuan's live broadcast room, is also a publicity for experts to their professionalism. Tiger Shark specially invited a local expert in Yingtian, who is very famous in the identification of porcelain. After the other party learned the specific situation, they did not discuss the price. Money or something is far worse than fame. 9 o'clock in the morning the next day. Lu Yuan has been digging for more than 2 hours, and his father and grandfather are by his side. Grandpa came here this morning when he learned that his grandson had dug up a pile of Ming dynasty relics. A car drove to the shore, and an old man in his 50s got out of the car. The old man wore a peaked cap and walked towards Lu Yuan accompanied by a young man. The two smiled and nodded at the old man, thinking he was here to watch the fun. At first, people from the village would come to see it, but after that, no one came. It was so boring. Hello, Mr. Lu, I'm Lu Haisheng, and Tiger Shark invited me here. Lu Yuan stopped what he was doing, looked at him and said, there is mud on my hands, so I won't shake hands with you. Lu Haisheng said, Mr. Lu, I heard that you dug a lot of porcelain, do you have any here? Yes. Lu Yuan pointed to the pile beside his father and grandfather. These were dug up just this morning, please give them a thumbs up. Lu Haisheng walked over and squatted down, picked up a bowl at random and looked at it. The bowl was covered in mud. He wiped it with a piece of paper. After wiping it clean, he pinched a little with his 2 fingers and looked up and down, left and right. Is this the expert hired by Lao Lu? I checked it, and it's an expert in porcelain identification. It's quite famous. It's not very famous, it's quite famous. Professor Lu is a distinguished professor of cultural relic restoration in our Yingtian University. At this time, Professor Lu also finished reading it, tisk a few times, acting very surprised. Lu Yuan said, I think this bowl is from the Ming dynasty, but everyone doesn't believe it. What does Professor Lu think? You can tell. Professor Lu was a little surprised, and immediately said, it is indeed from the Ming dynasty. This bowl is called the Ming Blue and White Blessing Pattern Lamp Bowl. It is a practical tool for the people of the Ming dynasty to eat. The lower bowl is conjoined, the dish is open, the lip is round, the belly of the bowl is bulged down, the foot is circled, the inner flat bottom has a round hole leading to the abdomen, and there is a porcelain column in the abdomen to connect the upper and lower sides. Floral pattern. I don't understand a word. Professors or professors, come at your fingertips. Is this really a Ming dynasty bowl? Old Lu also understands cultural relics. Isn't it possible for academic masters to dig soil these days? I just want to know if this bowl is expensive. After introducing it, Lu Haisheng said, although this bowl is from the Ming dynasty, its value is average. This one is not bad in appearance, and there is no big gap. It can be sold for 3,000 or 4,000. Then pick up another thing. This is a jar, also from the Ming dynasty. He looked through it and found that a pile of china was a daily necessities, and there was nothing particularly precious. Lu Haisheng said, this pile can be sold for tens of thousands of yuan, all of which are folk products of the Ming dynasty. Immediately stood up, swept around and said, I heard that this place used to be connected to the river. I guess it may have been flooded in the past and washed these things out of the city. I have a different opinion, Lu Yuan said. Oh, what do you say? Mr. Lu, come with me. Lu Yuan led him to the pit of Jinsi Nanmu. Look, Mr. Lu. Lu Haisheng said, I don't have much research on wood. Lu Yuan said, it's okay, I understand. This is golden Nanmu, and it can be seen from these steel nails that it is a beam of wood. After he finished speaking, he took him to the earth pit 5 or 6 meters deep, pointed at the ash below and said, this is ash, the surface is painted, it should be a column. Lu Haisheng didn't understand what he wanted to express. Lu Yuan paused and said, there is something under this ash, which was accidentally broken by me. Lu Haisheng still didn't understand. Lu Yuan simply said his guess directly, I suspect that there may be an ancient house buried under it. Lu Haisheng pondered for a moment, the ancient house. He didn't say it was impossible. Before the tomb of Qin Shi Huang was dug up, a group of people said it was impossible. Isn't it still dug out? The Dragon Kingdom has been up and down for 5,000 years, with so many dynasties and civilizations, no one knows how many things are still under the ground that have not been dug up. Just say the Imperial Mausoleum, how many were dug up? Buried in the ground, how many have yet to be excavated? No one knows. And Lu Yuan guessed that there was an ancient house buried underneath, which is not impossible. After all, it's just an old house. Lu Haisheng said, maybe. There are too few reference objects, but the beams and wood have been dug out, the columns have also been dug out, and there are also a pile of porcelain, which seems to be enough evidence. Lu Haisheng suddenly stared at the toucan with excitement, wishing he could turn into a Tuxing grandson and go down to find out. But everything is guesswork, and we have to dig it out to find out. 3 days later, Lu Yuan has dug as much as he can on the surface of the reservoir. The rest are very deep. And as he dug up more and more Ming dynasty antiquities, Lu Haisheng gradually believed in Lu Yuan's guess. Underneath, I am afraid that there is really an ancient house of the Ming dynasty buried. Lu Haisheng's on-site identification, one piece of ancient porcelain was confirmed. Tens of millions of netizens watched Lu Yuan dig out pieces of ancient objects as easily as bamboo shoots, and they were almost numb. Weibo also continued to dominate the list and refused to go down. During dinner that night, Lu Yuan said, Grandpa, tell the villagers, 300 yuan per person a day, come and help me dig soil. Dig soil. Dig a reservoir. Right, okay, I'll talk to them later after dinner. 300 yuan a day is definitely a high price for the villagers. And it's just digging soil and doing nothing else. Is digging soil heavy work for farmers? It's a fart, it's easier than planting rice. The next morning, 7 o'clock, a group of villagers came to the reservoir with shovels. Lu Yuan arranged them in the treasure chest and said, just dig it directly. If you're tired, you can take a break. I'll order a meal for you at noon. How tiring digging can be. Come on, let's dig. The villagers worked very hard, and they all felt a little embarrassed. If you dig a day of soil, you will be given 300. This money is too easy to earn, they are a little embarrassed, and the thieves are working hard. Lu Yuan pulled a cart of Red Bull and snacks. Drink when you are thirsty, eat when you are hungry. This treatment is simply not very good. Why don't you rent an excavator, Lao Lu? If there really is an old house, won't the excavator be scrapped directly? Many people are powerful, Lao Lu is going to speed up. The villagers dug all the treasures. No matter how young they are really strong. Although not as fast as Lu Yuan, it is not slow either. They deal with crops all the year round, how to dig the most effort, they know better than Lu Yuan. In less than half an hour, there was a 30-centimeter pit in front of everyone. At 11 o'clock at noon, the pit was already more than half a meter deep and 2 meters square. At first glance from the shore, a position about 10 kilometers long and wide was hollowed out. On the edge is the excavated soil. There were still too few people, but it was much faster than Lu Yuan expected. According to his estimation, if there is an ancient house below, it will be 3 to 4 meters underground. Time passes day by day. Soon, a week has passed. On the first day, the hole was pushed down 1 meter. The next day, continued to advance 1 meter. On the third day, advance another meter. Noon on the 8th day. Xiao Yuan, I dug up something, shouted a villager. Lu Yuan ran over, and Lu Haisheng quickly followed behind. When I got to the place, I saw that the villager in his early 40s grabbed something 30 centimeters long, I don't know what it is. Lu Yuan took it and looked at it for a while, but couldn't see a clue. This is obviously not a baby, and the system has not given any information. Let me see. Lu Haisheng held it in his hand, and after watching it for more than 10 seconds, he suddenly said excitedly, Xiao Lu, you probably guessed right, there is really an ancient house buried under this. Mr. Lu, what is this? Flying cornices, Lu Haisheng said, the things used for roof decoration in ancient buildings. He held the incomplete cornice, looked down at the earth pit, and said, there should be a Weizhou building below this, and yes, this piece borders Weizhou. At this time, another villager shouted, Xiao Yuan, I also dug something. The two ran over again and picked up a completed tile from the villager's hand. Lu Haisheng said a little excitedly, Xiao Lu, let them come up, we can't continue digging. Why, there must be ancient houses below. They are not professional enough. If they dig like this, they will be easily destroyed. Lu Yuan thought for a while and said, don't worry. If people are withdrawn, who will dig? No matter how good he is only one person. Archaeology team please. But no kidding. An ancient house, people really do not necessarily come. Such a small scale. No, not even on a small scale. Unless some heavyweight antique artifacts can be dug up under this. Of course, Lu Yuan actually didn't want to invite the archaeologists to come over. According to their speed, they could only dig a meter deep for a month. He knew that the archaeological team was slow in digging for fear of damage, but it was really too slow. Lu Haisheng stopped talking, he just came to help identify it. How to dig is up to Lu Yuan to decide. He was just worried that these villagers would be easy to destroy when they dug up. Lu Yuan was not worried, he found the villagers and rearranged their places. Before, they were digging at the location of the treasure point, but now, they were asked to dig around the treasure point. As long as there is no golden light, either there is nothing underneath, or it is ordinary. In this way, there is no need to worry about causing damage to the ancient houses below. All wipe, does it really have a house? Old Lu is really going to make a fortune this time. Get rich, how do you get rich in an ancient house? Can you sell it? The old house is worthless, but there are antiques underneath. There aren't many good things. You can see what Lao Lu has dug during this period of time. It's all broken bowls and jars. The rule of this world for antiquities is that whoever digs them belongs to the territory they belong to. To put it simply, if this is the land of your family, and the minerals are dug below, it also belongs to you. If the country wants it, it can be bought with money. The reservoir was contracted by Lu Yuan, and it was Lu Yuan's during the contract period. Even if he digs up an ancient tomb, the ownership is his. He can circle the tomb to sell tickets, and he can sell the antiques in it. Of course, it cannot be damaged. Ownership belongs to him, but the state has the right to supervise. If it is designated as a national treasure, it can still be bought and sold, but the transaction is limited to domestic. It is customary for national treasures not to go out. Therefore, if it is really an ancient house, how much money can be made depends on how many antiques there are in the ancient house. But judging from the current findings, there should be no good things. Lu Yuan also analyzed that if it is determined to be an ancient house, it must have been submerged by the flood that year. Before the flooding, the residents inside must have taken all the valuables. All that remains is an empty house. The villagers continued to dig, and no one found anything in the meantime. Lu Haisheng couldn't help but wonder, is there no mansion underneath? Another week passed, and at noon, the villagers sat on the edge to rest. Lu Yuan found Lu Haisheng, took out his mobile phone, and said mysteriously, "Mr. Lu, look." "Look at what?" Lu Haisheng stared at the phone, and the screen was shot by a drone. Lu Yuan controlled the drone and slowly pulled up. A few seconds later, the drone looked down from a high altitude. The bottom of the huge reservoir was clearly photographed. The ground of the reservoir under the lens reveals a clear outline. This is. I'm afraid this is not an ancient house. Lu Yuan said. It's an ancient town. During this time, the villagers have been digging around the treasure point, and a few days ago, an outline had been dug out. When Lu Yuan first discovered it, he wasn't quite sure. As more and more buildings were dug up, and the outline of the town became clearer, he was sure. I thought it was a house, but it turned out to be a small town. You can't feel it when you are in it, but once you look down from the sky, the outline of the town is clearly reflected. The outlines can be seen very clearly, with ancient houses and roads scattered in this piece. The range of the town is about 4 kilometers. Netizens also saw this scene, and they were dumbfounded. Grip the grass, it turned out to be an ancient town. Old Lu, you really made a fortune this time. Such a big ancient town was dug up by a group of villagers. It's ridiculous to open the door and get home. Although they don't know much about archaeology, they also know how carefully archaeologists excavate an ancient tomb or large ancient building after it is discovered. All kinds of professional equipment went into battle, and the operation was as fierce as a tiger. At a glance, the progress was 0.5. At that progress, pangolins would cry when they saw it. Lu Haisheng said, "Little Lu, they can't be digging, please professional, I'll go." The ancient town is about 4 kilometers in circumference, so it is absolutely no problem to invite the archaeological team. Lu Yuan waved his hand and said, "It's okay, let them continue digging. The archaeological team digs too slowly, but our village digs faster." Little Lu, it's okay, when it comes to digging treasures, the archaeological team doesn't necessarily have my major. Lu Haisheng didn't know what to say, but this place belonged to Lu Yuan, he didn't have the right to decide, he could only nod with a wry smile. After eating, the villagers rested for a while and continued to excavate. The panoramic outline of the ancient town shot by the drone overlooking the air has been on the hot search. Lying in a big trough, this anchor is going to heaven, he dug out an ancient town. 150,000, it's a huge profit to change to an ancient town. Where does this ancient town come from? Would you like more batches? Maybe there is one buried under your house. Roll, roll, roll. The anchor is still digging. Walk around, go and see. A group of people ran to the live broadcast room. The line was soaring, and it reached 15 million in the blink of an eye. Wu Jia looked excited. I thought it was just pumping water, but who wanted to dig out an ancient town? The archaeological team of the Yingtian Museum also received a call and held a meeting to discuss it as soon as possible. Lingshan dug out an ancient town. I watched the live broadcast. It is indeed an ancient town, and the scale is quite large. Ancient towns of this size have been discovered before, but the ancient towns under the reservoir are not the first, but there are not many in the world. What do you think? What else can you think of? They didn't invite us, they ran over by themselves, and they had to be willing to let us dig. They watched the live broadcast and heard what Lu Yuan said. Lu Haisheng proposed to invite the archaeological team, but Lu Yuan did not agree. Lu Yuan didn't agree, and they couldn't get in. Let's get in touch and talk well. Such a complete ancient town is rare. If they dig it down, it will all be a loss. Well, call and ask, but I don't think it's effective. We don't have to dig, we can also go over to help and guide them to dig. I think it's a good proposal. They found Lu Yuan's phone number from the Tiger Shark platform and dialed it. When Lu Yuan received the call, he was still digging hard. Hey, archaeological team. Thank you, no need, I have someone digging here. Mr. Lu, we didn't dig in the past, we guided you to dig in the past. No one wants to be destroyed in such a rare ancient town. What do you think? Guide, Lu Yuan said. Okay, come here, but I'll make it clear to you. You can guide, but you can't point fingers. I don't pay less attention to the ancient town than you. After all, I paid for the contract. I definitely don't want any damage. I don't question your professionalism, but please believe in my professionalism. The archaeologists on the other end of the phone did not know how to answer for a while. Your profession. The point is, you don't seem to be very professional. But he still said, well, we must rely on Mr. Lu's decision. Okay, then come here. As long as you don't point fingers, love how to guide. Lu Yuan couldn't help feeling the rules of this world. It doesn't matter if you bought the place or you paid for it. As long as you dig it, the stuff is yours. After hanging up, Lu Yuan continued digging. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, several cars were parked on the shore. Here comes the archaeological team. They stood on the shore and looked down. The outline of the ancient town became clearer and clearer at the drop of more than 20 meters. What a big old town. As an archaeologist, I know how rare an ancient town of this size is. And it's still hidden under the reservoir. Lu Yuan didn't drain the water. Who would have imagined that there was an ancient town hidden underneath? It is no exaggeration to say that this ancient town can see the light of day again, and Lu Yuan has 100% of the credit. Walk around, hurry over, don't let them dig it up. Going down the slope, watching the villagers vigorously wave the shovels in their hands, they watched like a horror movie. For professional archaeologists, this method of excavation is unimaginable. They quickly found Lu Yuan, who was also digging. PFF'd. Seeing Lu Yuan dig so hard, their hearts twitched in pain. Mr. Lu. Lu Yuan stopped and wiped the sweat from his forehead. You guys are. The leading man in his 50s quickly smiled and said, I am the head of the archaeological team of the Yingtian Museum. My name is Ji Yu DeYoung. Oh, hello, teacher Ji Yu. Lu Yuan was still very polite to them. The line of the archaeological team can really be said to generate electricity for love. Both professional knowledge and personal qualities are top-notch. In their eyes, antiquities are more important than life. Ji Yu DeYoung said, Mr. Lu, can you ask them to stop first? Let's make a rough survey first, and then make a plan for excavation. Lu Yuan shook his head and said, don't be so troublesome, you should have seen it on the shore just now, right? If you can't see clearly, you can use the drone to take a look. The outline of the ancient town is already out, and you can just dig down along the outline. They are almost done digging now. Before tomorrow afternoon, they will be able to dig the floor tiles of the ancient town. By then, the appearance of the ancient town will be fully revealed. Although this ancient town is buried underground, its integrity is very high. Lu Yuan guessed that after the flood hit that year, the water level did not recede, and the old town was buried bit by bit due to the accumulation of sand and dust over the years. The fine sand and soil dug out in the past 2 days also verified his guess. And because it is submerged by the reservoir all the year round, the underground soil is extraordinarily soft, and it is not difficult to dig it up. It is also for this reason that the ancient town has been preserved to a great extent. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Ji Yu DeYoung was a little anxious. Mr. Lu, they are digging like this, it's easy to bump into them. Will not. Lu Yuan smiled and shook his head, but did not explain. You can't tell them where you can see the treasure and where it isn't, right? Others also mentioned a few words, but Lu Yuan still did not agree to let the villagers stop. They were helpless, and Ji Yu DeYoung had to let them go to see the villagers. If they found an ancient object, they would stop immediately. The archaeological team is here, professionals, Lao Lu should listen. Listen to them, the ancient town can only be dug out in the year of the monkey and the month of the horse. Professional, I feel Lao Lu is more professional. One thing to say, the identification of cultural relics is definitely the specialty of these archaeologists, but when it comes to digging things, Lao Lu is definitely superior. Look at how efficient Lao Lu is. We can dig out all of them tomorrow afternoon. Isn't it just an efficiency? No amount of efficiency can destroy cultural relics. First of all, this is not a cultural relic. Second, when did Lao Lu destroy it? So far, the excavation has been good, and no buildings have been excavated. Since the discovery of the ancient town, it is no exaggeration to say that the whole people are paying attention. The best way is actually to hand it over to the archaeological team to excavate. If there is damage in the excavation of Lu Yuan, there will definitely be people on the internet. But Lu Yuan didn't care. You scold you, I dig mine, the two are irrelevant. The archaeologists kept walking around the villagers. Occasionally mention a few words and let them dig lightly. The villagers said, I'm professional, I'm fine, which made them panic. You are professional. You are professionally growing crops. Can it be the same? At 5 o'clock, the villagers ended their day's digging and went home, without their shovels, as they would have to use them tomorrow anyway. When Lu Yuan was about to leave, he found that the group of archaeologists had not left. Teacher Gu, aren't you going back? I won't go back. I'm camping here tonight. By the way, I'll investigate and dig a little. Lu Yuan was a little stunned. It really shouldn't be like this. He felt a little embarrassed. But he didn't want to let him stop the progress and hand it over to Ji Deyoung. So he nodded and said, I'll bring you something to eat later. After Lu Yuan left, Ji Deyoung's group circled the ancient town and drew a simple map. After drawing, I came to the ancient town buildings that had been excavated. At this time, the building has been exposed at a height of more than 1 meter. The cornices with raised horns, the tiles stuck to the sand, and the auspicious beasts on the top of the eaves can all be seen. A young man took a look around and smacked his lips. Don't say, these villagers are very big, but the digging is accurate, basically digging around the outline of the building. Others have also observed how, in the eyes of their group of professionals, it is unbelievable that they can dig out such details under such a wide-ranging excavation. Only those in the know how hard it is. When Ji Deyoung saw a building with such good integrity and no signs of damage from external forces, he was relieved and surprised at the same time. If this was dug up by the archaeological team, that would be normal. But what a group of villagers dug up is incredible. And it only took a few days to dig it out. Ji Deyoung felt a burning face. They claim to be professional, but they are not as good as a group of farmers, who dig fast and well. An hour later, Lu Yuan brought them food. When the team members were eating, they couldn't help but ask, Mr. Lu, I have a question for you. Please teach me. What's the problem? Excuse me, how did you dig? Ah, what kind of question is this? Lu Yuan said, I usually use a pickaxe. Many people in the village use a shovel, and some like to use an iron pickaxe. Ah, not this, I mean, how did you do it, dig it so fast, and still not hurt the building? Oh, this one. Lu Yuan smiled. It's very simple. Simple. A group of archaeologists cheered up and wanted to hear about Lu Yuan's experience. Lu Yuan said, since it is an ancient town, there must be a lot of useless open space. The ancient town is not an ancient tomb, and the buildings are not so close together. So after determining the roof, roughly judge the size and orientation of the building, and then follow the just dig near the building. So it is. Learn. This is actually not a difficult thing. The most difficult thing is the first step, which is to discover the ancient town. As long as the first step is completed, the rest is easy. Lu Yuan can see the treasure point directly, he is cheating. After they finished eating, Lu Yuan went back with the lunch box. Early the next morning, Lu Yuan and a group of villagers came. The archaeologists temporarily set up tents and slept in them. Falling asleep, they were woken up by the sound of puff puff. When I came out, I saw that the villagers had already excavated. The time flickered, it was already 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yingtian, in a high-end office building. Zhang Yuying is a financial officer of a company. She usually works leisurely, surfing the internet and shopping. The day passes quickly. Recently, I saw an anchor live digging treasures on Weibo, and I was immediately addicted to it. After watching the live broadcast, she went to watch Lu Yuan's previous live broadcast. Today the company pays her salary. She just went to the bank to process it and returned to the company. I took a sip of the milk tea I just brought back from outside, leaned back on the chair, and swiped Weibo to see if there was any major event in the entertainment industry recently. As soon as she opened the hot search, the news at the top of the list attracted her attention. Hashtag Laolu dug out a century-old ancient town hash. Dig it out. Zhang Yuying's eyes lit up, and even those who paid wages forgot to check the progress. It's only been half a day, and it's already been dug out. She quickly turned on the live broadcast and watched it. The barrage in the live broadcast room was as fierce as ever. It's from Weibo. Weibo +1. I'm going, this is too efficient, so I'll just dig it out. It's too dangling. It took less than a month before and after, and the underground ancient town was dug out directly. It is recommended that the archaeological team recruit villagers. These are really professional. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the villagers stopped their work. The ancient town, dug out. The ancient town of about 4 kilometers was excavated by hundreds of villagers under the command of Lu Yuan. Integrity is quite high. They are standing on the ground of the ancient town at this moment. The road underfoot is made of earth and stone, and there are no bluestone bricks. Obviously, this is just a very ordinary town. The buildings of Weizhou style indicate that a group of Weizhou people may have lived in this town at that time. Under the aerial view of the drone, the complete town is in the eyes of netizens. The small town is actually very dilapidated. In ancient times, except for the big cities, the buildings in ordinary small places were generally dilapidated. Still, it's shocking. One of the most attractive is a one-step mansion. This mansion is 2 or 3 times larger than other buildings, and at first glance it is the richest in town. The ash tree that Lu Yuan dug up belonged to this house. The 2 vermilion gates of the house were rotted a lot, but they were barely discernible. Looking around, Lu Yuan saw that with the complete excavation of the ancient town, the whole town was no longer glittering. His eyes were attracted, and there was still a little golden light reserved. There is also a treasure spot. It's amazing. This ancient town has at least 300 years. Thanks to Mr. Lu, without him, this ancient town will probably not be discovered for hundreds of years. The archaeologists were amazed. Before coming here, I was worried that the villagers would be damaged. It was only after I came here that I realized that my professional people seemed to be somewhat redundant. Mr. Lu, where are you going? Lu Yuan passed them by, holding a pickaxe and walking in a certain direction with Xiao Lu. The archaeologists followed curiously. A few minutes later, they came to the largest house in the town. The house was empty, but the ground was paved with neat stone bricks. This alone shows that this house is definitely the richest in the town. Lu Yuan walked all the way to the innermost wing of the house, and there was a treasure spot under his feet. He circled the backyard, looked around, and finally stopped again at the treasure point. There's something down here. He said it with certainty. Ji Yu Deyoung followed up and just heard it. Hearing this, he asked, how does Mr. Lu know? Lu Yuan said, I've always acted like this in TV dramas. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Ji Yu Deyoung couldn't keep up with his thinking. In ancient times, when a large family died, they would bury their treasures under the floor tiles in the yard. After the difficulties were overcome, they would dig when they came back. The northern part of Yingtian is the lower reaches of the Yangtze River. The terrain is very low, and floods often flood. People in the small town are estimated to be experienced and leave early before the floods. This can also be seen. Ji Yu Deyoung was a little less confident, and he could even see that people left early. Lu Yuan smiled and said, does Teacher Ji Yu feel that there is something missing from the town? Ji Yu Deyoung frowned and thought, but couldn't figure out what was missing. Lu Yuan said, corpse. There are no corpses here, not a single one. The flood hits in an instant. No matter how fast you run, there will always be 1 or 2 who can't escape. There were no bicycles and cars in that era, and even if there were horses, it was impossible. Everyone can afford it, so if you run away when you see a flood, there will always be a few who can't escape. But there is not a single body here, so I guess they determined the flood season in advance and left. And this is Yingtian. It is impossible for the local government to watch a small town be submerged and ignore it. Once it is found, it will be a big crime of dismissal and beheading. Ordinary people don't have anything of value, and the flood season happens every few years, so they are used to it. But the big families are different, they have too much stuff, and they can't pack it up and take it away in a short time. The easiest way is to bury it when the flood waters wash away. When the flood water recedes, come back and dig it out. Having said that, Lu Yuan suddenly stopped talking. Everyone listened to his analysis and was a little fascinated. Seeing that he didn't speak at this time, someone asked, "Then what?" Lu Yuan stared at his feet and said, "This house is so big. According to my experience watching TV dramas in ancient costumes, since it is going to be buried, it will most likely be in the backyard." This analysis, I actually feel that there is so little truth. It's more than justified. I can't find a point to refute at all. Old Lu's brain seeds are really useful. If they are obviously nonsense, I can't refute them. Not to mention them, after Ji Yu DeYoung and several others heard it, they also had a sudden realization of, that's it. Lu Yuan was just talking nonsense, but when he talked about it, he felt that what he said made sense. No corpses were seen in the ancient town. Either it used to be a deserted town, or just as I guessed. Of course, Lu Yuan didn't know what was underneath. If it's really gold and silver jewelry, then it's gone, and my guess is true. He tightened his hoe, and when he was about to dig, Ji Yu DeYoung stopped him. "Mr. Lu, how about, let's dig. If you go down with your hoe, the floor tiles will shatter." Quote. Lu Yuan was speechless. He was used to digging, and suddenly made him gentle, a little uncomfortable. "Then I'll take it easy." Lu Yuan pressed the tip of his hoe against the crack of the floor tile and pried it diagonally upward, and the floor tile was broken. Lu Yuan looked at Ji Yu DeYoung, and Ji Yu DeYoung also looked at him. The two looked at each other, and the atmosphere was a little awkward for a while. Cough cough. Lu Yuan coughed lightly and took the broken bricks away. Without the restraint of the floor tiles, it was much more enjoyable to dig. Puff puff. Lu Yuan dug, and others watched. They also want to see if there is really something underneath. After half an hour, boom, dig it. Lu Yuan laughed loudly and opened a space, revealing a wood with no discernible color. The system beep also sounded. "You dug up the treasure." There is only one beep, no detailed introduction. Treasure, a general title. Anything of value can be counted. According to the pickaxe's feedback, what he dug was wood. No, it should be a wooden box. Lu Yuan continued to dig, first expanding the range to reveal the overall size of the box, and then digging down along the edge. Another half an hour passed, and the whole box had been dug out. 1 meter square, the silt was wiped away, revealing the color of the vermilion box. Ji Yu DeYoung's group was short of breath. Netizens were equally excited. "Really dug it? Come out and take a look. I know that Lao Lu never misses. I finally understand the importance of reading. If I had Lao Lu's brain, I would have been rich already. Start studying botany today. You should learn logical reasoning." Lu Yuan clasped the sides of the box with both hands, exerted a little force, and lifted the box, feeling the weight of the box at the same time. There must be a lot of good things hidden in it. The box was put down, and Lu Yuan looked down, his eyelids twitching. The golden light is still there. More than one box. He dug for a while with the hoe on the left and right sides of the pit, and a layer of dirt fell, revealing a box side by side. There's another box. Old Lu is really a thief who can't get away. This consciousness is too strong. I kneel to Lao Lu. For ordinary people, they would be ecstatic when they found one, and they would think there might be more. And there is still some distance between the two boxes, so I don't know if there is any if I don't dig. As a result, Lu Yuan dug out directly. After the second box was brought up, the golden light disappeared. Lu Yuan jumped up and patted the dirt off his hands. A group of people surrounded the box. Although they didn't speak, the anticipation in their eyes said everything. "Look at what's there." The box was locked. Lu Yuan unreasonably smashed it open with a hoe, and opened the box casually. A layer of mud is covered, but it is still possible to see the general appearance of these things. Silver yuanbao, weight, 50 taels. Attributes, Ming Dynasty official silver. Value, 1.7 million. Jade. Texture, Hachan Suet. Properties, antiques of Ming Dynasty. Value, 2.8 million. Silver hairpin, silver ingots, jewelry, jade, seals. There are a lot of things in the box, and there are many kinds, but that's about it. Gold jewelry is also available, but not much. Open the second box and it's the same thing. Among them, the most precious is a piece of pixiu carved from Hachan mutton fat jade, which is quite exquisite and worth 2.8 million. Although this jade is expensive, Lu Yuan feels normal. In the antique business, there are actually only a few things that are of high value. Calligraphy and painting, porcelain, jade. The value of jade mainly depends on the texture, shape, and wearer. If it is just a jade card, even mutton fat jade is not expensive. If you carve exquisite jade, the value will rise. If some famous figures in history have worn it, the price is even more terrifying. For example, if this jade pixiu belongs to the emperor, I would not dare to call it a national treasure, but if it is put at an auction, 30 to 50 million is a random auction. This is the case with many antiques, and the ones left by the big ones are always the most expensive. But what surprised Lu Yuan the most was silver. No, it's a silver ingot. 2 boxes, a total of 5 silver ingots. Each piece is 50 taels. Such silver ingots are worth 1.7 million. This puzzled Lu Yuan. This is Guan Yin. Ji Yu Deyang picked up a silver ingot, very surprised. Lu Yuan didn't understand and asked, Mr. Ji Yu, is this silver precious? Ji Yu Deyang said, it's not precious, but it's rare. Lu Haisheng explained, official silver mainly depends on the year, and the value of official silver in different years is different. In some years, the cast is less, and the value is naturally high. A lot of this kind of silver ingots have been unearthed. The cheaper ones are about 200,000 to 500,000. The more expensive ones I remember. There was an auction a few years ago, and a silver ingot was sold for nearly 4 million. Holding the grass, more than 4 million in silver. Is this more expensive than gold? Why, the people who bought it have so much money that they can't spend it all. Sand sculpture, Mr. Lu said, depending on the year, not every year is so expensive, and this is official silver, not private money. Lu Yuan had a general understanding. He picked up a piece and opened the bottom. The bottom of the official silver has the casting year. The 27th year of Wanli in the Ming dynasty should be 50 taels of Tianfu. Lu Yuan read it out. Lu Haisheng's eyes lit up. Silver ingots from the Wanli period. Or from Yingtianfu, this piece will not be cheap. Ji Yu Deyang knew more than he did, and said, if I remember correctly, the official silver of the auction you mentioned earlier is the 27th year of Wanli. But that piece is 100 taels. Then he looked at Lu Yuan and said with a smile, Little Lu, these few silver ingots are really going to make a lot of money. Lu Haisheng said, there are more than silver ingots in the box, that piece of jade is probably worth several million. The archaeologist said, there are still a lot of jewelry. Mr. Lu this time, I'm afraid he will make a lot of money. A group of people looked at him with envy in their eyes. Adding up the treasures in these 2 boxes, the total value is not particularly high, and it is not even as good as dog head gold. 5 silver ingots, 8.5 million. Jade pixiu, 2.8 million. The other things add up to 70-88, and they are almost worth about 5 million. In addition to the china, tables and chairs, golden nanmu that I dug before. The total price is around 17 million. It didn't break his personal record, but it was indeed worth a lot of money. And these gains have become more and more certain of his previous guesses. The residents of the town must have left early. Otherwise, such a big family has no calligraphy and painting at home. They knew that calligraphy and painting would be soaked, so they took them all away. The same goes for banknotes. The Tang dynasty tables and chairs he dug up, Lu Yuan guessed, may have been collected by this family. Not only people today collect antiques, but ancient people also collect antiques. After tapping, Lu Yuan looked at the ancient town. His biggest personal gain is 2 boxes of treasures. And this ancient town is a huge harvest for Yangalan village. Very simply, the place where the ancient town is located belongs to the whole village. Lu Yuan drove 2 boxes of treasures home. The yard that used to be quite large is now full of things. Porcelain, wood, treasure chests. The video of him dug up the 2 treasure chests is circulating all over the internet. The birth of Lingshan ancient town has also attracted the attention of the whole network. As soon as Lu Yuan got home, the phone kept ringing. Li Huakai from Christie's auctioned several times to get through, hoping that Lu Yuan could hand over these items to them for auction. Sun Xiangdong said that many old customers around him are interested in these things, so he can help him contact him and let him not rush to sell them. Fang Hai responded quickly enough this time. He was not interested in other things, he wanted a silver ingot and a jade pendant. Before dinner, the treasures dug up this time have already been divided into 7s and 8s. After dinner, Fang Hai had already arrived by car. Sitting in the yard, he looked at the newly unearthed treasure, and the more he looked, the more he liked it. Especially the jade Pixiu. Although it is not a high-ranking emperor, it is the real thing of the Ming dynasty. Jade is good jade, and there is nothing to say about the skill of carving. There is a trace of blood hidden in the white jade, which is simply the best. Xiao Lu, you can't let me run away this time, this Pixiu and silver ingots must be sold to me. Lu Yuan didn't hesitate. Fang Hai's bid was straightforward, and it wasn't the first time the two had traded. An auction or something, he didn't want to entrust it until the last moment. The main reason is that the process is too cumbersome and the time period is long. Half an hour later, Fang Hai left contentedly with his things. After a while, Lu Haisheng and Ji Yudeyang came to Lu Yuan's house. Ji Yudeyang said, "Little Lu, what are you going to do with this ancient town?" Lu Yuan said, "The ancient town belongs to our village. I contracted it for 1 year. After a year, it will be up to our village to deal with it." Ji Yudeyang said, "I have a suggestion, do you want to listen to it?" Teacher Ji Yu, please speak. It's not easy to unearth the ancient town, and it is rare to find such a well-preserved one. You can ask a professional to repair the ancient town and then protect it. Lu Yuan said, "I'll talk to the villagers later about the restoration, and see their opinions. As for protection, can I still sell tickets after it's protected?" Ji Yudeyang said, "It can be sold, but if you want to use it as a scenic spot to collect tickets, you have to maintain it frequently, otherwise an ancient town can't withstand too many people visiting." That is for sure. Lu Yuan doesn't have much feeling for antiquities. In his opinion, his life always comes first. This is true for the villagers. Eat your own stomach first, then have time to care about other things. It is inevitable that the ancient town will become a scenic spot. Ticket revenue. How can the villagers live more comfortably than before? Lu Haisheng said, "Little Lu, where are you going to dig later?" Ji Yudeyang was surprised. "You still want to dig? Look at what you said." Lu Yuan laughed. "That's what I do, I must dig." Ji Yudeyang thought for a while and said, "You are indeed quite professional, but it is not so easy to dig an ancient town of this size." Lu Yuan said, "You don't have to dig the ancient town. This time, I just happened to come across it. I just dig whatever I want." "Okay, then if you dig up such ancient buildings in the future, be sure to contact me." He was just being polite, and he didn't think Lu Yuan could still get it. These archaeologists may not be able to dig once a year. And every time, the construction team accidentally dug it, or some villagers found the robbery hole, and then called the police, and the police contacted them. Simply relying on yourself to find and dig, this kind of thing is very rare, almost zero. After the two left, Lu Yuan found his grandfather and told him carefully about the ancient town and future plans. Grandpa said after listening, "Okay, I'll talk to the villagers later. They'll definitely have no problem." Although the ownership for the first year belongs to Lu Yuan, the presence of tourists means that the income of the village will be boosted. Tourists come, want something to eat, want some water. Not to mention, open a small shop. I dare not say it after a day, I can still earn a few dozen yuan. And this year, Lu Yuan didn't just collect tickets, and did nothing else. He also asked someone to come and fix it, which was a lot of money. A year later, all the villagers have to do, in addition to getting tickets, is regular maintenance. The scale of the ancient town is not small, but it is hard to say how many tourists it can attract. Lu Yuan has no experience in this area. But there will definitely be people who will come and make money. Online, the heat is extremely high. The experts who spoke last time have to speak when they see the news, and it is recommended to turn it in. When they take a closer look, am I lost? Why is this person again? After thinking about it for a long time, I finally didn't have the courage to suggest it. Lu Yuan is too fierce, he dares to scold you if you dare to suggest that he turn it in. Also, this guy has a hand in digging things. He saw many netizens making up jokes and scolding them, saying that if there is any expert advice, he will dig the expert's ancestral grave. It was just a joke, but for some reason, they felt a little scared. If it is really in a hurry, it is not impossible. So, it is better not to provoke. Lu Yuan is looking at the map. Everything has been shot in the past 2 days, and it's time to hit the road. Ordinary people may go straight to the mountains. After all, it is well known that there are good things in the mountains. But it is also well known that there are beasts in the mountains. Lu Yuan's idea is very simple: go from city to city and count wherever you go. He can scan without worrying about missing something. The next day, at 9 o'clock in the morning, Lu Yuan drove a live broadcast, rode a motorcycle, and wandered to the reservoir. Ji Young and a group of archaeologists are taking pictures to record this ancient town, not letting go of every detail. Lu Yuan found Ji Young, asked him for a team to restore the ancient building, contacted the other party, negotiated a good price, and the other party will come tomorrow. Old Lu, don't rush to repair. When will you dig? Dig a fart and sit and wait to collect money. Everything that can be dug in this mountain has been dug. What else can be dug? Lu Yuan walked in the ancient town and said, don't worry, I'll dig when I finish the village affairs in the past few days. Where to dig? Are you still digging in the mountains? Old Lu, I want to see you dig a grave. Can you arrange it? The corner of Lu Yuan's mouth twitched. Dig your sister's grave. I am a treasure digger, professional. I don't dig graves. A group of sand sculpture netizens have come up with bad ideas. Back home, Lu Yuan found a group of people in the yard. Mr. Lu. Seeing Lu Yuan's return, a group of people immediately gathered around. Mr. Lu, do you sell that silver ingot? I'm very interested in that jade pixie. Can you show it to me? Is the beam of the house fixed? If there is no one, I will take it. Among these people are personal collectors and second-order dealers. Lu Yuan saw Sun Shangdong sitting at the stone table drinking tea, some of whom he had introduced. At noon, the treasure dug up this time is almost ready to be shot. These people buy what they want and leave immediately without delay. Before leaving, we left a phone number with each other to facilitate future contact. The next day, the repair team came and negotiated briefly. The other party went to investigate first, and then gave a repair plan. On the third day, the repair amount came out, and the repair of the entire town cost 5 million. This price is not high. After all, the town is so big. Because it was buried in the ground, the roof was completely gone. And the other party's repair standard is almost 1-to-1 complete repair. What materials are used for the construction of the town? What materials do they use? It is equivalent to rebuilding a town on the original foundation. The material cost is not large, mainly because the labor cost of the repairers is relatively high. Not a professional can't do this job. Lu Yuan has no problem. He paid the first batch of money first, and then paid according to the progress. At noon that day, after finishing these tedious things, Lu Yuan said, finally, it's done, take a day off, and set off to dig for treasures the day after tomorrow. What? Take a day off? Take a rest, hurry up and dig. Old Lu, do you know how many people are digging for treasures live? You will be caught up like this. Where's the next place to dig? Don't say it. Don't say it now, or a group of people will dig in front of you. Before the ancient town was dug out, there were not many anchors who followed the trend to dig treasures. After the ancient town came out, the major live broadcast platforms in the past few days are all live streaming treasure hunting. Lu Yuan didn't care. The things in the ground are there. Whoever digs it belongs to him. If I can dig it, others can dig it. Don't look at how easy it is for him to dig treasure, that's because he has a system. How do normal people dig? Even if you give you a metal detector, you can't dig everything. Who the hell knows if it's scrap iron or gold? Lu Yuan and Xiao Lu were hanging out in the village, bragging with netizens, when a phone call suddenly came in. Wu Jia called. Hey, Sister Wu, what's the matter? Wu Jia's tone was a little excited. Lu Yuan, an endorser has come to the door. Endorsement. Lu Yuan was startled. Although the percentage of the endorsement was written in the contract, he actually never thought about it. At first he was not very short of money. Second, he doesn't think there will be brands asking him to speak for himself. It is very prudent for a brand to invite a spokesperson, and the image and temperament must match its own brand. Lu Yuan is very puzzled. I am a digger, what brand will find me? Which brand? Nanxiang excavator. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Excavator, ask me to speak, this seems reasonable. Lu Yuan was obviously full of troubles, but he couldn't spit it out. It was so reasonable, he wanted to give Nanxiang a thumbs up. Wu Jia said, I will send you the contract to see. Okay, send it to me. Not long after, the contract was sent. Lu Yuan opened it and took a closer look. He was surprised when he saw the endorsement fee column. 15 million a year. At first glance, the endorsement fee is not high. But how long has he been on fire? The most important thing is that he only needs to cooperate to take a few photos, and there is no event to attend. To put it bluntly, people just want his fame. The main thing is that he is a treasure hunter and endorses the excavator, so it fits so well. However, the endorsement is received by Tiger Shark, and the tax will be deducted after half of the points, and it will be less than 6 million. But 6 million is not a lot. For Lu Yuan, this money is a waste, and there is no reason to refuse. As for the image or something, who cares, you are still picky about the money delivered to your door. He went back to Wu Jia and asked Tiger Shark to help sign it. In the afternoon, the endorsement contract was signed. Nanxiang directly contacted Lu Yuan to discuss taking pictures. It takes 1 to 2 days to shoot the advertisement, and the other party directly brings people here to take pictures. So, the next day, Lu Yuan did not broadcast live and disappeared for a day. On his way home in the evening, he couldn't help but get goosebumps when he thought of the lines he shot in the commercial that day. What a shame. Fortunately, the two sides cooperated, and the efficiency was very high. The original 2-day advertising shooting plan was completed in just 1 day. That night, the endorsement fee after deducting the share also arrived. Looking at the incoming text message, Lu Yuan suddenly remembered, is it time for him to pay taxes? Except when I sold meteorites, I paid taxes by the way, and the rest of the money has not been managed until now. He opened the bank app and glanced at the balance, which was close to 85 million. Of which, 5.24 million was taxed, and the rest were not paid. I'll drop by the tax office tomorrow. Lu Yuan suddenly changed his mind, and the tax bureau was also divided into localities. He can choose to go to the city to pay, or he can choose to pay at the local tax office. It made no difference to him, but it made a difference to the local tax system. To put it simply, if you live in the county, you can pay more than 1 million tax a year to the local area. You may not be a big taxpayer, but the local financial system will definitely be willing to make friends with you. If you can pay more than 10 million tax in a year, it is not a big taxpayer. In the future, when children go to school, family members see a doctor, etc., some of them are related. Yangalan village belongs to Longqi district below Zhongbei district. Lu Yuan wanted to understand the key and decided to pay the tax in the district. He didn't expect to be the emperor of the earth, but he couldn't avoid dealing with people in his lifetime. Although Lu Yuan felt that he would never ask for others, why not enjoy a relationship that he could easily establish? Early the next morning, after breakfast, Lu Yuan threw everything in the car and covered it with a rain cloth. Dad, Mom, grandparents, I'm gone, call if anything happens. Lu Yuan opened the car door, Xiao Luzi slid up, and sat in the co-pilot. Be careful when driving, do you know? Be careful outside and try not to enter the mountain alone. Mom kept telling me that Lu Yuan was not bothered. She waited for her to finish before saying, got it, don't worry. If you miss me, just watch the live broadcast, go, Xiao Lu, and say goodbye to them. 666. Lu Yuan stepped on the accelerator lightly and the car drove out. He didn't live stream it right away, and he had to go to the tax office. Half an hour later, the car was parked in the tax office parking lot in the district. Lu Yuan walked into the reception hall, no one was there, he went directly to the window. Hello sir, what kind of business do you handle? Hey, you are, old Lu, cough, Mr. Lu. The little girl at the reception was a little surprised. Lu Yuan is a famous person, and maybe no one knows him in other cities, but in the local area, especially in the past few days, it is popular. The local people know that there is an ancient town dug out of the Lingshan Reservoir, and there are many antiques. In the past 2 days, many people have come to watch the fun. Lu Yuan smiled. I'm here to pay the tax. Well, Mr. Lu, please fill out the form. The salesman handed over the form, and Lu Yuan looked around and said, Girl, why don't you ask your leaders if you can get me a fast track? My tax bill is quite large. The salesperson's younger sister was stunned for a moment, and immediately thought of the money Lu Yuan made from digging treasures during this period of time, and immediately reacted. Our tax bureau, here comes a big taxpayer. Well, Mr. Lu, take a seat, I'll go right away. The salesman ran very fast, and 2 minutes later, a middle-aged man in his 40s followed her with small steps. Hello Mr. Lu, my surname is Li Baohang, the director here. Hello, is Mr. Lu here to pay taxes? Come to my office for a cup of tea. When he got to the office, Li Baohang was chatting all over the world, and Lu Yuan happily took some time to chat with him. After chatting for half an hour, Lu Yuan cut to the topic. One pass calculation, to pay close to 15 million tax. The key point is that this kind of tax is not yet preferential. After all, it is not a corporate tax, and there is no corresponding preferential policy. But Li Baohang is very good at things, and said, Little Lu, when do you have time? I'll go and tell the district chief, let's sit down and have a cup of tea together and have a good chat. Okay, then when I have time, I will definitely meet you for tea. But I will be leaving in a while, and it will probably take a while before I come back next time. After chatting for a while, after paying the tax, Lu Yuan left. After coming out of the tax office, Lu Yuan got in the car, turned on the live broadcast, fixed the position, and went all the way to the south. Brothers, Lao Lu is on the air. It's almost noon, and it's finally here. What about digging treasures today? Why are you in the car? Come on, Lao Lu, is this a bird of prey? Big dog. In the early morning, millions of netizens gathered in the live broadcast room. As a result, at 9 o'clock, the screen was still black. Until now, netizens are suffocating in their hearts. Lu Yuan drove the car without squinting, and said, I made everyone wait for a long time. I just came out after paying the tax. Pay tax, how much? Has anyone calculated how much Lao Lu has earned during this time? About 70 million. 70 million. How much tax do I have to pay? Lu Yuan said, I paid about 15 million. It hurts a bit, but I can't help it. Who makes me a good citizen? The more I pay, the more I earn. I am happy to pay this money. In this regard, he will not fool, nor dare to fool. His income is transparent, and he can check it out. If you dare to fool yourself, you have to go in and step on the sewing machine with toothpicks. Lu Yuan said, let's have something to eat in a while, then go around Yingtian and see if there are any good places to dig nearby. Is this about to leave the mountain village? Old Lu has taken an important step in his life. The city is boring, fast forward to the mountains. It's really boring in the city, and good things have to go to the mountains. After driving for half an hour, Lu Yuan arrived at Zhongbei district. After lunch, he came to an outdoor professional shop and bought some items. Tent, folding chair, portable gas, stove, kettle. Then I bought a bunch of snacks and water. An hour later, he threw a few large bags into the back seat and drove on. After crossing the Yangtze River Bridge, Lu Yuan followed the navigation and drove towards the suburbs north of Yingtian. An hour and a half later, at 4:30 in the afternoon, Lu Yuan stopped. Looking around, a small hillside connects this open land. The hillside is not high, only 200 or 300 meters. Half of the mountain is in Yingtian, and the other side belongs to the city next door. At the foot of the mountain is a villa area, and in front of the villa area is the university town of Yingtian City. There are also subway lines nearby. It's here. Lu Yuan parked the car, jumped down and looked around, and said, the sun is going down soon, take a rest and wait for the excavation. Lao Lu turns on the night mode. Treasure digging at night, the first time, looking forward to ing. Don't expect it, there's nothing good in the city. Would you like to go to the university town to dig? Maybe you can dig black silk. The grove in the university town has always been a place of legends. Lao Lu, are you interested in challenging the difficulty? Ignoring the jokes of these guys, Lu Yuan took out the folding chair, leaned back on the pickup, drank water, and watched the sunset. Xiao Lu skillfully tore open the bag of snacks, and while banging bang bang, he ate six, and enjoyed himself. It was almost 5 o'clock in the blink of an eye, and it was almost time to rest. Lu Yuan secretly said in his heart, Level 3 scan. This place is said to be big or small, and there is no way to scan too many areas. Too much, easy to sweep to the subway station. After 2 minutes, the scan ends. Lu Yuan looked around and was immediately dumbfounded. There are only 2 scattered golden lights in the radius of 3 kilometers. So little. There's really nothing good in the city. Lu Yuan had a toothache, and the 3-level scan only scanned 2 treasure spots. It seems that I still have to go to the small hill in front to try it. Lu Yuan put away the folding chair, grabbed the pickaxe and said, Brothers, it's digging. He walked towards the first treasure point, a kilometer away. Come to the place and dig directly. Puff. The soil is compacted, and it is harder to dig underground than in mountains and reservoirs. But it's only slightly harder to dig, and can't stop my pickaxe. Puff puff. After digging for less than 10 minutes, there was a pop. Different tactile feedback through the pickaxe. Dug up. You dug up that ring. Ring. Texture, platinum. Weight, 13 grams. Value, 2,000 yuan. Lu Yuan picked up the ring, the hoop style, 13 grams, very heavy. Platinum is expensive when you buy it, and the recycling price is cheap. 13 grams is only 2,000 yuan, which is a loss to my grandmother's house. For the first time in half a month, I dug for a treasure, and I dug a ring, which is not bad. A ring, platinum. Lu Yuan shook in front of the camera. It's yours, old Lu, such a large area, such a small ring can be dug up. I seriously doubt whether Lao Lu used a metal scanner. This thing is not worthy of your status, Lao Lu, send a wave of welfare to everyone. Lu Yuan smiled and said, okay, I'll give it to everyone as a benefit. I'll let the platform do a lottery later, and whoever gets it will send it to me. Old land atmosphere. This ring is at least a few $100s, right? Big brother, platinum, you see, it's more than a few $100s in size. 1 or 2,000 yuan is available, enough for me to go to the club. After installing the ring, Lu Yuan ran to the next place to continue digging. Puff puff, clang, how sweet is this familiar voice. You dug, fight. You dug, fight. Fighting, click to learn. You will immediately have a fighting skill, and you can't get close to 30 or 50 people. Lu Yuan wiped his eyes, thinking he was wrong. Is it waiting for 30 or 50 people? Not 3 or 5 people. Clicking to learn, Lu Yuan suddenly felt that he had changed. Become different. He looked at Xiao Lu and felt that he could kick him away with one kick. No, I used to be able to kick it up too. Standing up, Lu Yuan looked at the hill in the distance. Throw the pickaxe in the car and drive all the way to the foot of the mountain. In summer, it gets dark later, and it is not until 7 o'clock that it is completely dark. Even though it was evening, the sky was still bright. Lu Yuan jumped out of the car, picked up the pickaxe and said, go and dig in the mountains. If you have something, you can dig more. There is no way to change the place tomorrow. He walked all the way towards the mountain. Compared with Lingshan, it really didn't count as a mountain. The trees on the mountain are also generally short, 3 or 4 meters high, so there is no need to worry about wild animals. Lu Yuan walked towards the top of the mountain. After holding it for so long, he is going to play a big game. He looked at it roughly, and the level 4 to 5 scans could basically cover the entire hillside. He also doesn't expect to dig up wild ginseng meteorites here, the size determines the resources. Purely just thinking about it. After walking for half an hour, Lu Yuan stood on the top of the mountain, which is also the center. Level 5 scan. Just as Lu Yuan was scanning, a car drove towards him. It was an urban off-road vehicle with 2 young men sitting in it. The co-pilot man pointed to the front. Over there, I saw Lao Lu's bird of prey. Then the man said to the mobile phone, brothers, we found Lao Lu. I heard that Lao Lu was digging tonight, so I came over to join in the fun. The 2 are local internet celebrities in Yingtian, with hundreds of thousands of fans, and they were originally doing outdoor interviews. Seeing that Lu Yuan was so hot, he came over to rub the heat. No, as soon as I heard that I was coming to find Lu Yuan, the popularity of the live broadcast room increased rapidly and there were more than 30,000 people. When you see Lao Lu's attitude, remember to call brother, or Lao Lu will dig up your ancestral grave. Picking the ancestral grave is a trivial matter. I'm afraid I'll provoke Lao Lu and bury it for you too. Don't look at Lao Lu alone. He is very powerful. You two are not enough for Lao Lu to slap him. The man looked at the barrage and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. How can Lao Lu be as terrifying as you said? After parking the car, the two just got out of the car, and another car came behind. Come on, no need to ask, it must be the same purpose with them. After a while, 5 cars came back and forth. These people still know each other. After all, Yingtian is so old, and the slightly famous internet celebrities also know each other, but they are not familiar with each other. You are also here to find Lao Lu. My house lives nearby, so I stopped by to take a look. It's not a coincidence. My home is also nearby. It only takes half an hour to drive here. While chatting, several people picked up their shovels and pickaxes and walked towards the mountains. It was dark at this time, and Lu Yuan had finished scanning. He didn't let him down. There are so many good things in the mountains. A radius of 5 kilometers, hundreds of babies. Lu Yuan was walking towards the nearest place. When his ears moved, he heard footsteps and conversations coming from not far away. Turning his head to look for the sound, he saw the twinkling lights flickering. Couple, come here to make bubbles at night. Lu Yuan was not in a hurry to dig, and after waiting for a while, those people got closer and closer. Someone in the distance shouted, "Old Lu. Looking for me." A few people trotted over and saw Lu Yuan with a headlamp, and said happily, "Old Brother Lu. You are Brother Lu, get to know me, my name is Zhang Chao, Yingtianren, I came here specially to dig treasures with you. I'm also a host, and so are they." Lu Yuan understood this. Rubbing heat. Lu Yuan didn't care, he said with a hum, "I wish you all the best of luck." Brother Lu, you dig, I'll dig next it. After a few people said hello, they ran up to dig with a shovel, not far from Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan glanced at it, that Zhang Chao was very good at picking places, and the place he dug happened to be a treasure spot. These people are enough to fight, come over at night to get hot. Come on, Lao Lu is probably afraid alone, and many people are also confident. Old Lu is afraid of hair, and he's not an old forest in a deep mountain. What can this kind of hillside have? Lu Yuan excavated. It took less than 2 minutes to dig. You dug up wallet. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.